and welcome back to Pia Pops Off, a podcast where I talk about everything and anything, usually pop culture. And today we are on episode number 17. And I just want to start it off right off the bat with a little Pia Pop Business to attend to, because I made a mistake in saying that last week the episode was episode number 15 because I got confused because we had a lost episode, which you guys know all about. So that was really, last week's episode was really episode number 16. And now we are on episode number 17. And with me is the usual suspects, my Bravo besties, my Bravo sleuths, Shirla and Jaleeza. And we, if you're new here, we have been recapping the Bravo Network's reality television show, Summer House. And today we are recapping Summer House episode number 11. This is amazing. I have so many opinions. I can't wait to get Shirla and Jaleeza into the group chat. But before we get them into the group chat, a little bit more of Pia Pop Business to attend to. Can you do the normal things? And don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you get informed when we drop a new episode of Summer House. Also, feel free to pop off in the comments if you agree with our takes, if you disagree, or all of the above, whatever. We just want to hear from you. Join the group chat. Like I said, it was pretty brief. I really enjoyed this episode. So I just want to get my Bravo besties, my Bravo sleuths in the group chat with us. So let's just go straight over and let's join Shirla and Jaleeza to recap Summer House episode 11. Hello and welcome back to Pia Pops Off. And I'm with my besties, my Bravo sleuths, Shirla and Jaleeza. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
So there are just a couple of pop culture highlights that I wanted to chat about with you ladies. Number one, did you guys see Sinners?
That was going to be my hot topic. Yes.
I have not yet. It's still
Oh my gosh.
Jaleeza, goodbye. Log off.
Right. All right. Exit.
I know. I've been working so hard to avoid the spoilers.
Good luck,
weekend.
girl.
It's happening this weekend.
Well,
I haven't yet. So far, I've been successful.
So, I mean, obviously, we're not going to go into detail. So don't freak out if you are like listening and you're like, well, I haven't seen it either. So like, we're not about to recap Sinners, but I did want to recap my feeling about Sinners. And I wanted to see your feelings about Sinners. Or since you didn't see it, Jaleeza, like what your expectation is when you do see it. I had been told so many times by people unprompted before I saw Sinners, that it was imperative to see it in theaters. And after seeing it, I agree. And if you can see it on 70 millimeter, I didn't see it on 70 millimeter because it is kind of hard to find theaters that have that because it's such a specific type of screen. But IMAX, I saw it in IMAX and it was great. It was breathtaking. And also the director, Ryan Coogler, said that IMAX is perfectly fine to see it in. So if IMAX is all you can see it in, like, choose that option, pay a little bit more money, choose that option. You will not regret it. But the movie, like, I believe it was the best movie of the year so far. And I would go as to say it's the best movie I've seen in years. I loved it that much. Personally, when I see a film, I know that to me it is a like film that will be talked about for many years and that will like be one of those things that people like study in film school and stuff like that, when it's a film that you can watch over and over and always find something new about it. I feel that way with like one of my favorite movies is Titanic. And to this day, I watch Titanic at least once a year. And to this day, I still find something new and interesting about Titanic because it's that good and well thought out. It's that well thought out. And I think that's what Ryan Coogler did with this movie. It's so layered.
I agree. First of all, I love a film that when you leave, you still think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, too, you want to do research about it.
Yeah.
And so Ryan definitely does his research.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like the same thing that I say like about Beyonce.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Like people don't do full albums anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We need to bring back storytelling in films.
Yes.
And he just does the best job. And I've been such like a camera geek now. So I've like been looking at all of the interviews. I saw that it was shot on an IMAX film camera. So that's why they suggest to go watch it in IMAX. I also watched it in IMAX. And then I'm going to be in New York for like 24 hours. So I'm going to watch it for the second time on like one of the 5 locations that you can watch it in 70 millimeter. And then also it's like 15 perfs. Like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
But I'm going to watch it again. So I'm just like, it was so, I didn't know what to expect because I guess I didn't really see the hype, which I'm like, that thank goodness for like the TikTok algorithm. Like if you don't like anything, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised and it was just amazing.
I was lucky too that I didn't get any spoilers. I did hear a lot of the hype though, which I was actually incredibly nervous about because when you hear, like to your point, like when you hear too much of a hype, I think that it sets an expectation that sometimes and most times you can't meet. And I felt like it was going to be really hard for me to like have the movie actually meet the expectations everyone was trying to say to me. And it's just that good that it exceeded those expectations. And like it has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And I don't know if anybody, I love film. I love television. I like my major was literally theater. So I had to take film studies class. Like getting 100% on Rotten Tomatoes is incredibly difficult and literally almost unheard of. That means that this movie was able to speak to every demographic, which is really hard to do, especially with a Black-centered story. That is not necessarily slavery.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's very true. And just like how, Ryan Coogler, like just one, like he, works with his wife. And then when he wrote the script, he was shopping it around and he got it with Warner Brothers. And it was like after like 25 years, he was like, I want to own the rights to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
And then even that they were like, okay, yes, you can have that, but you have this amount of budget and only this amount of days to shoot it. And so like he was under like the gun. And for the fact that like this turned out to be so beautiful, I'm like, bravo to him. And I'm just like, I hope he gets everything that his heart desires. We're so lucky to be able to watch his work. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up the point that he will have ownership of this film, which is another thing that is incredibly unheard of. And there's a lot of controversy on that. Some outlets have chosen to kind of have some, in my opinion, microaggressive undertones when they're writing up any type of anything about this movie, with almost spinning it into an over exaggeration. Like they're saying things like he's going to break the film industry with his like monumental like contract that he got for this movie, which is one of them being able to own this movie in 25 years. Just like how he's getting paid off of like the box office and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm happy that there are other people pointing that out. One major person that is using his privilege to speak out in favor of what he's seeing is Ben Stiller. And I appreciate that. Ben Stiller called out Variety specifically for pretty much trying to like give a backhanded compliment about how well the movie did in its first opening weekend, saying that it only accumulated $60 million with a $90 million budget. $90 million budget, and they're far away. They have a large gap to get to that. But with sprinkling in some like, but good job in there. And Ben Stiller literally calls it out like, in what world is a $60 million opening weekend equated to like anything of like negativity? Especially if you really went further, the projections are that he is going to surpass that $90 million. Like it's already written. Like it has domestically, it has literally already reached the #1 horror franchise ever to make that much money in opening weekend. And it's like people are pointing out that they're choosing not to focus on some of the big things that he did accomplish, some of the things that a lot of people have never been able to accomplish. And then going back to like how they're trying to turn it into a negative, like almost like he's being selfish for wanting to have ownership of this movie in 25 years. Quentin Tarantino did the same thing with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He had a very, very similar deal. and no one said anything negative about it. So it's interesting how people try to negate, especially Black men, Black people's success, and minimize it. And I'm happy that there are a lot of people that are not just of our complexion, that are of the white complexion, that are also speaking up and saying, no, this movie is good. It's good on its own. It's good for so many reasons. And its success is based upon how great his writing is, his research, just everything about it. So I'm happy for everything. I hope he gets nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I hope he gets nominated for Best Director. I hope that they get multiple awards and win.
It's also very similar to what they do to Beyonce, where just like you, as a Black person or as a person of color, you can only reach a certain level of success.
Yeah.
And, if you transcend that, which Beyonce does, and now Ryan Coogler is doing this as well, they have to figure out a way to how can we humble them?
Yeah.
And, Ryan Coogler's contract is also the same thing, a little bit play on, what Beyonce's doing, where they were like, oh, she can't do country even though she's country. But it's about, having ownership of our stories.
Yes.
And that's why he wanted to have ownership of, this film, because not only did he write it, but he's telling a Black story. And so he wants ownership of that versus a production company having that. So it's just so many little things that you'll find, in the film without giving any spoilers. I can't wait for you to see it, Jaleeza, so we can fully talk about it. But it's just I'm so happy for him. And also too, I believe I read somewhere that they gave him a $90 million budget, but he didn't fully spend it.
Oh,
I believe he only spent $60 million. I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that was the case.
Okay.
That they didn't fully spend it. And the fact that people are not only choosing to see it in standard, but they are paying extra to see it in IMAX because that is what he suggested. And a lot of, films don't have those options. So people are driving hours to their nearest IMAX theater to watch it, even in the certain locations. So he's really bringing back going to the movies and film. And I just love it so much.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And also, not only are people going out of their way to go to the movies to see this specifically in IMAX to get the full experience, they're seeing it multiple times. You already mentioned that you're already planning on seeing it for a second time. Because again, like I said, this film is a film that you will watch it over and over, and you will see something different every time. I don't care how great you are at watching film. I feel like I'm really great at watching films. It's meant for that. It's you can enjoy it on the first watch and then watch it again and see something. It is a type of film built to transcend not just the here and now. This is built for people 100 years from now to be able to still enjoy. You know what I mean? Think about movies that we are still watching, Gone with the Wind, Casablanca, things like that. Those are the type of films that Ryan Coogler are interested in making, and he is making, and he executed it perfectly, in my opinion. And I can't wait for you to see it, Jaleeza. I really can't, and I do implore anybody that has not seen it, that plan on seeing it, two things. This is not a spoiler, so just know that this is not a spoiler. This is just a helpful for you. I implore you to just completely sit there and wait after the credits. Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
Okay. Like Marvel.
I would say stay seated and then stay seated again. Just keep staying seated.
Yeah.
Like Marvel.
Got it. I mean, that's after,
Yeah. But wait, there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that. And then the second thing is, I do think that you after watching the film, go online and start doing your research, because there's so many people out there that have done the legwork for you and have put together so much research in the different explanations of different things, and not just explanation or theory, they have put facts together and pulled from little things that he breadcrumbs that he includes that he's left for you in other places on the internet. That's not even in the film, but it just it's fun.
You will go down so many rabbit holes. That's why this is such.
It's actually almost an interactive experience that he set up for you. It's a very unique experience. And the final thing that I have to say about it, because again, I don't want to say too much because I really don't want to spoil the experience for anybody, and I don't want to like overhype it too much to ruin or set too much of an expectation for people. Fuck, I lost it. What did I say? What was that? Like, God damn, I did it again. It was something Sinners. Something happened. There was something with Sinners. I don't remember. Oh well. I cannot remember.
No, but I am excited. And I love movies that I have to leave the theater and I Google and I'm like, oh, wait, like I did catch this, but I missed this, So, like Jordan Peele movies back in the day, right? Like that kind of vibe, that feeling where it's just like, this is great, but I know once I get on the internet, it's just going to make it so much more elaborate the way things are interconnected. So yeah, no, I'm excited. And I did see an interview with like Michael B. Jordan and like the cast, just
acting
talking
was
about
top
like,
tier.
the way they took on the roles and, how much they've just personified these characters. And yeah, it's happening this weekend and I just haven't gone because like a lot of people, my local theater is not IMAX. So I have to go a little bit out of the way.
Yeah.
But it's happening this weekend and I am so excited to see it.
Okay. I'm
so jealous.
I remembered what it is and I really knew it was important. So there's one criticism that I've heard from some people, again, going back to the point of people trying to minimize his authenticity or just the success in general of creating this very much original movie. Ryan Coogler has not hidden the fact that he has been inspired by other films.
Are there any horror films that inspired the look of Sinners?
The biggest one for me, by you, The Thing was the biggest. I mean, there was a big poster in your office right behind your head. What I loved was that it was also shot in anamorphic, just suspenseful and moody and had so much character in it.
There'll Be Blood was a big one for sure. That's your favorite movie?
That's my favorite movie. And then there was a lot of like things in our movie that I felt were similar, and especially when we started talking about format. But then also I brought up The Last Emperor because I just read it. So when I first read this script, these things came to mind. And that's the first time I think I told you I ever read a script and got that excited and that the visuals jumped off the page.
And watching it, I immediately could name two off rip when I watched it. I was like, and he's been very, very vocal. You can literally one Google search and a million articles will pop up. So this is not something hidden. This is not a secret. He's very much wanting you to know. And by the way, all films are inspired by other films. That's how art works. There's a difference between being inspired and copying. And a lot of people don't know how to do the difference. And here he is just drawing from inspiration and then creating something completely new. And there was one creator I saw on TikTok that people are already lighting him up about.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And he's making claims that Ryan Coogler completely just stole the whole premise of Till Dusk Till Dawn, which is a Quentin Tarantino movie. Was actually not his movie, but he's in it. I don't think
it is his movie.
Is it his movie or is it just in it?
It is
it's his movie, and it's also starring George Clooney. So it's starring George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino. It has Selma Hayek in it, and it is similar. And when I watched it, I immediately thought of Till Dusk Till Dawn. But I actually think Till Dusk Till Dawn is like I don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the film, but it's not. I would, even when watching, I watched it in recent years. I was just like, this is kind of like not that great. Like I like it for what it is, but it's not to me layered. It's not layered enough. It's just a campy movie. It's fun. It's whatever. And that's completely fine. This movie goes deeper to me and to me is like a really elevated version of that. And also it reminded me of Interview of the Vampire and like a lot of other stuff. And this creator wanted to say that he didn't credit Till Dusk Till Dawn, and that's not true. He actually did and said he's a huge fan of that director. I don't think it is actually Quentin Tarantino because he said
he wrote it.
Oh, he wrote it, but it's a different director.
Yeah.
And then he also lists every single person or every single film that he was inspired by, which he was inspired by a lot of different things. And you can
Lost Boys.
Yes.
You can tell. Yeah. But also too, that same creator, he tried to say, I'm not going to say the other part that he says, but one of the things that he was like, it was a Latino movie that, why aren't you crediting like this movie because it was a Latino movie? And then there's another part. But Quentin Tarantino is a white man.
And so is George Clooney.
Yeah. Some people
and I would argue that Till Dusk Till Dawn is not to me a Latino story, if that makes sense.
It's definitely not
I
at
think
all.
that what he's trying
Didn't they make them the villains?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I'm just like,
That's a really great point. And then also, I think that what he's trying to the reach that he's trying to reach to make it say that it's a Latino movie is the fact that the whole magic element, vampire element, is coming from like within that world, a historical thing that comes from a Latino culture, which I'm not even quite
surrealism. There's like
yeah.
a surrealism.
Yeah.
There's a name for it. It's very big in like Latino and Mexican culture.
Well, I was like, I'm not even sure.
It's already been appropriated.
Yeah. So, and then again, that movie is starring 2 white people. And I love that the other Latinos who saw his video said, let me full fucking stop. That movie was starring 2 white people that happened to have only 2 like Latino people, which is Daniel Trejos. I think that's how you say his name, right?
Danny Trejos, yeah.
Danny Trejos, and Selma Hayek. So like, it's a reach to say that when Ryan Coogler had really went out of his way to make this a Black cultural centered story that did incorporate other ethnicities that made sense. Because that was another one of his criticisms, that there were no Latino people.
His research.
He did his research. Another one of this creator's criticisms is that there was no Latinos in there. And so they didn't have any representation. And there was another creator who was commenting on this creator who is also Latino that literally gave us geographical maps of the time, because this story is set in 1932 in the South, specifically, I believe, Mississippi.
Delta, Mississippi.
Yes. And so she said there were no Latinos in that area. So it really wouldn't make sense for us to be there because we weren't there.
They were there, but they were deported by 1930.
Right. She goes into all of that, but she was like, in general, like they're it's not to say that there's not one single Latino person in there. That's not what she's saying. But she said, let's call it like the census.
We're not talking Texas or Miami.
Census-wise, they didn't have a big presence or even a historical impact at that time in that place. So it just would be putting a group of people in there to put people in there. And that's not what he's doing.
Right.
He's really trying to use historical references, mixing it in with, like some
storytelling.
Stories. Yeah. So again, I love that this movie is that good that even when there are 1 or 2 people trying to poke holes in things and create problems where there are no problems, there are those same people that are representations of those groups that are there to defend it and defend him. And I love it. And again, that's all I'll say about it. And just go see it. And I hope everyone enjoys.
But just to wrap this up, like they never have the same smoke for white directors or writers. And the fact that like outside of this movie, like Ryan Coogler for Wakanda Forever had a whole group of people that were representations of, Latinos. And it's like, so he literally created a whole group and a whole, island for them in Wakanda Forever. And he gives credit and he shows representations in his movie when it makes sense.
Yes.
But like the fact that we have it hold people of color to a different standard than white writers is just like, go yell at them.
Yeah, exactly.
How many movies we have that are all white people, right? Like, and we don't bat an eye. Like, we just consider that normal, right? Even when there's not even really a story. Like, but if this movie can be for Black people, and that's okay. Not everything has to have everyone represented. Yeah. But like, yes, we need more stories told, but like, it's okay to have something that's just Black culture.
But the thing is, he did though. He actually, even though this is a absolutely Black centered story, and again, I don't want to get too far into it, but it's clear when you watch the movie
research.
Yes, he does his research. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk about it too much more because I feel myself.
Because then you'll go into it. Yeah. Because I like the fact that I didn't have to the point that I saw that Sierra did. She was on a red carpet with Michael B. Jordan, and it was 2 of them, and I was like, what?
Oh yes, I did see. Yeah. See, so she said Shirla is speaking about. I forgot all about that. Sierra from Summer House, which is actually an amazing segue because I wanted the second pop culture highlight of the week is actually going to be about Paige from Summer House, but we can start with Sierra and then transition into Paige. But Sierra interviewed Michael B. Jordan on the red carpet, and it's in the trailer, so this is also not a spoiler. He plays two characters, like the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap of it all, which is really, really cool. And so he is giving Sierra from Summer House an interview from both characters' perspectives.
Tell us who you play and who's the better brother.
I play Stack, and of course, I'm a better brother. You know, I'm a little bit more ambitious. I can dress a lot better, as you can see, and a bit more of a charmer and talker. I get the business done.
First of all, I don't see no sun in the sky. Take them damn shades off. In business, boy can't even count. I'm clearly the better brother.
And it's really cool. And also, I would like to say this, because I know that we're very critical of Sierra, although it's coming from love. I will say I was incredibly impressed with how she interviewed, her interviewing skills on the red carpet. I thought I think she crushed it. Hannah Berner.
It was better than Hannah.
No, your music has literally made me want, when I want to fight someone, I listen to your music.
Because you want to throw that fighting shit out the window and you want to get cute and be a bad bitch.
When people are talking shit, I go turn on Megan Thee Stallion.
Take notes. Because I was like, she could really do this. I thought it was great, and I was really happy that she got the opportunity, and I was glad that she executed it well. So
As she
snaps for Sierra, baby.
She was better than both Hannah and Paige.
I didn't want to do that to Paige but yes.
Well,
but yes.
I personally think that Paige could have, worked on it a little bit more. I think they both went into that whole interviewing on the red carpet thinking like anybody can do this. We don't need to do our background research or, do our homework. Whereas Sierra clearly went in more prepared and she did a killer job.
Speaking of killers, Paige was everything on Watch What Happens Live. Did you guys watch?
Yes.
I did watch it.
Amazing.
Everything. What a masterclass of literally reading everyone, all the haters for filth in the most classy way, in my opinion.
Your thoughts on Miss Pat saying on Watch What Happens Live that she thought that you were not kind to Craig?
Yeah. Well, when she was on, I think she said that she was like a self-proclaimed bitch, and I feel like she nailed that.
Okay.
Yeah, she got it right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be the Jake Paul of Bravo. I'm not gonna fight her.
It was so it's really hard. It's a really delicate balance of the venom was just the right amount of venom.
Yeah,
that's all.
Showed a very fine line.
Do that.
Mm-hmm.
She's able to do that, whereas everybody else would be eaten alive. With Ariana, she's very similar to Ariana, where they both have that great sense of humor, but for some reason the audience would have ripped Ariana to shreds, whereas Paige, I'm happy that they don't rip her to shreds for her humor.
You know what it is, and I will be constructive about Ariana and also Lindsay, two people that I love, and I get it, but a lot of people don't. I think it's just the button that they end on that can make people not as open to it or receptive to it. And I feel like Paige, the way she ends things, she's just very confident, but then it ends on an up. You know what I mean? The way she ends it is not I feel like sometimes when Ariana or even Lindsay end it, it's you can tell that they're really annoyed and angry about something.
So my dog had just died. I cried in your arms, and you thought I should go her boyfriend. You are lower than the lowest of low people.
Which rightfully so, because of all the things that people are putting them through. But Paige has, I guess that's why she's giggly squash. She has a way of laughing it off and ending it on an up, even though it is still the same intention. And I think that's why it lands a little better with the audience, in my opinion.
I just think it's just her tone.
There's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's the tone. It's the tone of it.
Yeah.
It is they're all saying the same thing, but the way the delivery of it, I think Paige has it's just a small, minute thing, but ending it on an up kind of changes it. I think how it lands on people, which is
even with the thing she said about Miss Pat, right? And she was I think she called herself a self-proclaimed bitch. I think she nailed it, right? she's not saying it, but obviously you can tell exactly where she stands.
Yeah.
And she's capable of like saying things without saying them in a really good way that I think lands well.
It's like everything, like when I say up, is like everything was it was just like she's saying the most like venomous things, but it's like
insane.
But like the way her body language is, the way it's presenting like she's saying the nicest thing. And that
it's like a bless your heart.
Yes, it's very Southern.
It's very Southern, just like not as like, it's harsh, but like very comedic.
Yes.
Very Southern. But I do think, like, I personally like Paige. I know you guys like Paige. I think she does get the benefit of the doubt because so many people like her.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas, unfortunately, like, Lindsay's so polarizing. And even if she had a different tone, people will still be like, she is the meanest person on earth.
Absolutely.
But, like, with Paige, she's able to get away with a lot more things.
She absolutely does get away with things, but I think a part of the reason why she has been over the years been able to get away with things is just because I think that she does, because I've always been like, she is literally saying the same thing as Lindsay all the time, but but Lindsay gets in trouble for it. And there's a lot, and I think there is a lot of privilege built in it with like just the way she presents herself. But I think that is what it is. I think her presentation is just more polished. And Lindsay's a little bit more rough around the edges, and that is off-putting to people. I don't think it is. I love it, but I guess the majority, that is just how I guess the majority feels about it. So I do think that we have to take that into account a little bit. Like, okay, well, that is how most people are feeling about it. I don't necessarily think anybody needs to change based off of that, because I think it's fine to react that way, but I'm just like trying to figure out why it is that they're all three of them are saying the same thing, but one person seems to it to be just a joke. Like,
it's kind of insane. I've never seen that's such a good I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
like all three of them are very, and by all three we mean Ariana, Paige, and Lindsay, very strong, confident women. Lindsay has a more harsher tone, where she goes from 0 to 100. But for some reason, her strongness is not as accepted as Ariana and Paige.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that Ariana, she was also in the Paige realm of where she could say a lot of things and people will be like, okay. And then now the audience, it could be just like the undertones of misogyny, start to be like, you think you're better? And we need to humble you a little. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Paige with this audience.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because I do think that there are 3 tiers. And I think that Lindsay is on the bottom tier because, one, people just never liked her. So she's already starting at a disadvantage. And then also, like, I just think that she says what she wants to say. And then I feel like sometimes she doesn't I feel like it ends on like a down, in the sense of like, it's just like, well, that's what I said. Like, and then you already have it built in. People don't like you. Then Ariana, people like her. They're with her to a certain point. But the thing is, she is so quick, so articulate. It's like a knife.
You really are. You're a psychopath.
/
You are terrifying to me as a person.
/
The fact that you are capable of this unbelievable. You're a dementor.
/
I know you like Harry Potter. You're a dementor.
And they're all warranted, in my opinion. But I think that she says everything that we're thinking that like most people were like, I mean, you're not supposed to say it out loud. And she's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to say these all loud. And I think Paige says what she's thinking, but she doesn't say everything she's thinking. So
that's a good point. Yeah. We know so much more about Ariana, where, she's been very open about her depression. And so people, I feel like there's a lot of cruel people on the internet. So once they see that things can get to you, they will continue to attack that way. Whereas Paige, I'm sure things get to her, but she never shows us that. Like the fact that we're just now seeing all the things that her and Craig have been going through, and seeing her for the first time having these up and down emotions is new. So you're right. She doesn't show it and, let us in on it.
Yeah.
Which I think helps her a lot.
Yeah. But I was living for it. And I was really happy that she didn't give like cookie cutter polite answers. She answered everything that Andy said about everything that we all have been seeing online on both sides of this whole breakup between Craig, the cast of Southern Charm, her cast, and she answered it all. And she answered to me, I feel like very honestly. Like I feel like a lot of times, like when people are go and watch What Happens Live and like even like Scandival, like they kind of like tiptoe around like different things and they're kind of coy about things. And she was like, yeah, that was storytelling at its best.
Yeah.
Like she just
and this is like it's what we need, because like then you leave it open to interpret. It's like what Kyle on Beverly Hills does. Like she likes the idea that just say a few things and then people have to come to their own conclusion. And it's like, if you just tell people this is what it is, I don't want you guys in my marriage or my business.
Yeah.
I want to figure it out. Just say that versus like having people speculate and then you really just say nothing. So that was very refreshing to see. Lindsay also does this too, where she's just like, this person got fired because of this. And it's like, thank you.
Well, actually a full circle moment, I do feel like like the way that Lindsay has been approaching like even topics of Carl when she's being interviewed on Watch What Happens Live or on other places. I do feel like and I think it's because she's actually genuinely happy. She's happy with the person she's with, Turner. She's happy in her life as a new mother. I feel this energy or some type of like whatever chip has been on her shoulder for years, that chip is not there. There is something different about Lindsay, even though I loved Lindsay before and I personally could like see through like a lot of different things based upon like the things that she shared with us. So I had empathy and could see through like some of her trauma and how she reacts to things. But even me and my criticisms of how she presents herself in the past, I feel like that's not how she has been presenting herself currently. And it has been working out for her. Like something about her is on an up. Like even when she's talking about like the Carl stuff, like something about it is like different. And I don't really see a lot of like criticism online like I would usually when she has these interviews. So that also shows that like she is such in a different place. And I feel like both her and Paige are growing at the same time now, like in the sense of like Paige is like no longer hiding like her feelings with Craig, which is why I think we got all of what we got on Watch What Happens Live. And I think Lindsay is like literally like happy and just enjoying life. And she's like, when she does have to reflect because it's a part of her job, it's not as like, I don't think it is as like heavy for her on her end. I feel like I actually feel that venom in that, like I feel the awkwardness from Carl whenever he's talking about it.
Yeah. I think to your point, they're both happy, and it has to be such a weight lifted off your shoulders to not have to hide things anymore.
Yeah.
Or be like, oh my God, if I have this conversation, this could be an issue. Or if, I talk to him about this, like that could be an issue. So like now that they both don't have that, you're just like, I can say what I want.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
And she actually said that in the Watch What Happens Live. I think one of the questions Andy said, or like during the conversation, he was like, I'm sorry, you're tired of me like bringing up the breakup, the relationship, and like picking it apart. And she literally was like, no, I'm not. Like, it's the job. I'm on a reality TV show, and I kind of have to naturally assume that that's going to be a part of it. And I'm okay with it. And honestly, like, I'm okay with it because I'm happy with where I am currently today. And if I have to take the hate about the decision that I made for myself 10 times over again, I will, if it leads me to the place that I am currently mentally, and probably physically, because when we get into the recap of episode 11 of Summer House, we find out more about how her body was physically reacting to the stress of the toxicity with her and Craig's relationship.
Yeah. That is, your body will tell you when you need to leave certain situations.
Yeah.
And that's not just relationships, but your job, anything personal. Listen to your body.
Yeah.
But stress manifests itself physically. And so, like, yeah, she just seems lighter. She seems happy. Like, it's just seeing her on Watch What Happens Live was just such a nice juxtaposition compared to like what we're seeing in the season.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, you got rid of like what, 180 pounds of dead weight? Like,
yeah,
great girl.
Man, baby.
Ooh, she is free. She is free.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
It never made sense to me. Like those two, I'm like, girl, get rid of this man.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah,
Amanda
like aesthetic
too.
wise,
Well,
they
actually,
looked well, but like, yeah, I mean, he seemed just too needy. He requires too much.
I mean,
yeah.
Craig is really good at pretending to be something he's not.
Yes.
He's very good at it, but that kind of stuff will not last. It will not last. I'm just glad that she's, unlike Amanda, unwilling to spend the rest of her life doing that. So,
Well, she probably sees Amanda's and Kyle's relationship, and a part of her is like, as much as she loves her friend, right? Like, is that really the dynamic she wants? I doubt it, and clearly not.
Yeah. I'm going to put a pin in that because by the time we get to the end of this episode, Paige kind of says that in so many words when she gives advice to Lexi. So that actually ends up being a full circle revelation. Probably a revelation that led to her decision to actually break up with Craig in the first place.
Yeah.
But
I honestly think that's why she was late to the summer house, because I think that's when she was like, you know what? I feel like this is going to be done for me. Because she also looked lighter when she came to the summer house.
Well, she was late because she was at a doctor's appointment.
But she also said she needed to take a beat.
Oh yeah, after that. Because
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't go into details about what they said at the doctor's appointment. Nor does she have to. But I'm wondering if they were like, "There's really like nothing wrong with you," and if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I can
stress.
do to like make the numbness in your hands go away, or because there's like nothing actually like medically wrong with you. This is something that seems like a issue that's an internal, like stress related and all that stuff. So you're gonna have to change something and figure out what's going on in your life that's causing your body to shut down and go into protection mode, because that's what it's probably doing. I'm not a doctor. She didn't say any of these things. That's my speculation of what I think happened based on what she said.
It makes sense.
But since we're speculating, let's just jump right into it and speculate on Summer House episode 11. I was nervous that this episode was going to be a filler, and I don't think it was a filler, but it definitely was exposition, I think, for what is to come. And it was needed. Like we needed to have this episode to lay the foundation on what's going to explode, which we kind of get a little preview at the end of what's to come. So I'm actually super excited for the next episode, but let me just focus on episode 11. So we open up on them driving into the house, specifically Jesse and West. They're driving together to the house, and Jesse, he pretty much the theme of this episode is Jesse going around trying to get ahead of things that he's done to people.
What's worse, Jesse toe sucking or Jesse flirting with Sierra? What do you think is worse?
Like Lexi, like Sierra. And right now he's getting ahead of the narrative of him strong-arming Sierra, and he's starting with his buddy West. And he pretty much tells West, it's interesting because I've noticed this is a pattern for Jesse. When he wants to talk about what he really wants to talk about, he tries to pretend and and enter into the conversation as if it's about someone else. And that's exactly how he did this. This is how he was able to bring up the Sierra strong-arming situation at the cancer benefit. He says, "Oh, West, I saw the way that you guys ended last weekend. You guys, she was actually really nice to you. This is such amazing progress. This is amazing." And West is like, "Yeah, I'm so excited. We're making progress." Before even letting West breathe after saying that, Jesse's like, "Yeah, you know what's not progressing? Me and Sierra, because I strong-armed her. I strong-armed her at the cancer benefit. I told her, get your paws off me. But I didn't do that because I'm mean. I did that because I wanted to be respectful of Lexi." So many things happen in that moment. So many things. Excuses of why he strong-armed Sierra. Shifting it and making it into a Lexi issue, which I don't even know if Lexi is aware that happened. Nor did Lexi ask him to do that. But anytime he does...
That's the thing. He's making it assume, he's not assuming, he's trying to get everybody to assume that it's a Lexi issue, and she's forcing him to change.
Exactly. And he keeps doing this, and he doesn't just, by the way, he doesn't just do this with Lexi. He does it with Sierra too. Those are the main two people he does this with throughout the episode. It's always someone else's fault, usually Lexi or Sierra. and it's in reaction to how they're treating him, or like they're trying to hold him accountable for something that he has done. And so then he puts it off on one of the two, and then eventually the whole house. He's the perpetual victim, and I'm over it. Over it.
Been over it.
And then also what he's doing is, again, breadcrumbing and causing the roommates in the house to feel a certain way about Lexi, specifically Wes. He keeps telling Wes this very like distorted version of what's going on between him and Lexi. And Wes is clearly, I honestly think he doesn't like Lexi at this point, because from what he's being told, Lexi seems like a problem. I can understand why West feels the way West feels, because if your friend is telling you that this girl is like doing X, Y, and Z and exaggerating these things, or just at some points just straight up making things up, you're going to believe your friend. He doesn't know Lexi. So I can't really fault West in that regard. And so I'm going to focus at the moment on Jesse.
Oh, in the car?
Yeah, in the car. Because West, whenever he does like confessionals, or like even in previous episodes, I can see that he's starting to feel a certain way about Lexi based upon what Jesse has been telling him, like, and painting it like she's on my back. But the funny thing is, even within that, I feel like Wes hears certain things that Jesse is saying is like, yeah, the unfollowing thing, like he's in the car, like he's like, and then like, yeah, like she keeps bringing this up and like saying like me following girls, and I guess I shouldn't, and like, because I'm trying to be serious with her. He's like, I mean, yeah, like if you are, like if you're trying to be serious with her, like
you should.
Yeah.
But then like but then he like makes it seem like she's making him be serious. So then I think that's what Wes hears is like, oh, but she's making you. This isn't something you want to do, and she's forcing you into it. So then that's where he's like, well, then I don't like that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like this doesn't make any sense. But yeah, you can also see like Wes is like, that's why I was like, where are we at the point of the car? But like throughout the episode, like his wheels are turning, being like, okay.
Yes. But this episode should be called The Wheels Are Turning, because that is what is happening to everybody in the house. This is why like everybody is finally starting to see that whatever Jesse has been telling them is just really not aligning. But I know I've seen a lot of people online say, see, everybody was jumping to conclusions about specifically the criticisms that the girls, specifically Paige and Sierra and Amanda have been getting about not being a girl's girl, or about being mean girls. And like the fact that they did ask Lexi, and they did like, empathize with her and realize that Jesse was saying one thing to them and another thing to Lexi and all that stuff. But I think that people think we're so like team Sierra and Amanda on that point. They're still like negating the fact that, okay, great, yes, they did do that in this episode, but what I can't wrap my head around is, then what the fuck is up with the after show or Coachella and all that stuff? Things that happened after the house, after they know all this information. So we know that they found out during the summer, they found out in the house. So I'm confused about then why is there energy like this in the confessionals? And again, or the after shows, I should say, specifically. And again, we have to point out, these after shows are filmed way after they film in the summer. They are shot they are only shot when the show begins to air. So they have only started shooting those after shows since the show is airing, which means from all that time, from filming Wrapped to filming Wrapped to now, they've known information, but yet their energy seems like very harsh towards Lexi. So that's where I don't understand it. That's my criticism.
And also too, and I'm glad you brought up the after show, because it's like the comments didn't come out of nowhere. They came from their comments from the after show, specifically Amanda.
No, his options were to be exclusive with her and have sex with her, or not to talk to her at all. What would you do?
That's why we keep saying Amanda and then sometimes Sierra, because they had harsh comments. But the after shows after that episode went away. Like we haven't seen any more after shows since then. And because like I would love to know more hear them talk after seeing this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, has their perspective, like they can't, it's such a big jump. It just doesn't make sense to me that you experienced this, you let Lexi know, you saw what was happening, but then to your point, the after show, you have a completely different energy towards Lexi. Like, did she do something? Are we going to wait and see? Like, I just don't know.
My theory,
what happened in between? Because it does feel like something's missing. And then it does make me wonder, like, is there a reason they're not showing us the after shows, or that they stopped doing after shows?
I think they
Was,
stopped
like, their
filming.
feedback bad? Because
I think they stopped filming it too, because it just doesn't, it's not correlating.
I think there's a lot of different things going on there. I think that one, they saw the feedback and they really do like Sierra, Paige, and Amanda. And I think that they are protecting that to a degree. But I also think that this has become such a like hot topic for the show that they want to save it for the reunion. Because if they talk too much about it, we're not going to get as probably good revelations or conversations, and it might start feeling stale once we get to the reunion. So I do understand, like, maybe that being also a part, like, they're like, we need to say some of this shit for the reunion. Like, this is a big topic. And I don't know if maybe they didn't know how big of a topic it really would turn into, because everybody, there is, like, so many debates. There are people on, like, there's no clear, like, people are literally, like, it's split down the middle, in my opinion. Like, there are people that are just ride or die. Amanda and Sierra, they can do no wrong. They want no criticisms of them. There are people who are like, they're criticizing them to the nth degree. I feel like we're in the middle. Like I have criticisms, but I like feel like I'm just basing it off of the full picture of what I'm seeing. I'm basing it off the show, and I'm basing it off the after show, and I have questions. Like,
I think we're also everybody else's who were on either side are going off of whether they like them or not.
Yeah.
Like, we're very much like, we love this show, but if you give us new information, we can change our mind.
Yes.
Even if we like you.
Yes.
We do it all the time with Lindsay. And, it's about, same thing with Paige, where we did last episode of calling her out and her choice words that she was using. But right now, the information that we're seeing, it actually is just not adding up, because you have one end of them in the after show. And to your point, I do agree with you. I think they are protecting them because I'm sure the after show got worse. And so they're just like, we don't want to show these comments, and it's getting us in too much trouble. And then also at the reunion, we're going to have to call back to the after show and not the actual show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just trying to figure out like how it just doesn't make sense to me how they came to this conclusion.
Yeah, like Jaleeza, you said,
especially Amanda.
Yeah, especially Amanda is like real. Like, we kind of already talked about Sierra last episode. To me, like, we know she doesn't watch the show, so her being flirtatious with Jesse at Coachella or whatever they're doing, and all this stuff makes sense to me, knowing the information that according to Jesse, that she doesn't watch the show. So yeah, she's not really actually seeing all these little things that he's doing then necessarily. Hopefully Paige is letting her know, like, girl, you're not watching it, but I'm gonna let you know. Like, he is.
But that's the thing. Like, it was called out in the show, though. So, like, that is the thing. Like, even if it's just like,
but not every tiny thing is going to be called out. And I feel like there's like small things sometimes that I feel like watching the show, that's why it's such even you've said this, Shirla, like, it's such an amazing opportunity to be able to get to watch these things back. Because yeah, she might know like the overall, like, Jesse was being annoying, but again, like, because she doesn't watch the show, she can chalk it up to, well, like, Jesse, like, was being pressured by Lexi, because Sierra was never a part of any of those conversations. That's not true, but she wasn't like actively participating in any of the conversations when Lexi was confiding in the ladies about her side of the coin. And I think she was really only present for one of them for briefly, and I think she was kind of checked out because she was still thinking about being strong-armed. But again, like, it still does make sense to me why she is moving the way she does in a way. I can't understand Amanda, because she was present for every conversation, because she's the one who prompted every conversation, why she is being so venomous. Like, that is blowing my mind. I would have never thought she was a part of those conversations based upon that one after show, when she literally says, what was he to do? She gave him an ultimatum. When you had a conversation this episode, and you out of your own mouth said, doesn't seem like she's the one who's really wanting to be exclusive. So I don't understand why she said that in the after show. Again, after show filmed after that conversation.
Yeah, that's what's
not
so
understanding.
Something more had to have come out later in the season, because it just doesn't make sense to me of why, to your point, she not only was present, but she prompted those conversations.
Yeah.
And
like,
so
it makes me wonder if something happened between them directly.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's like, they're like, unless she is just like literally trying to create interesting television, that's the only, and I don't think Amanda is, when has she ever tried to create interesting television?
Summer should be fun. Amanda, not fun.
That's not like, she's just going to start doing that today? Like, no. So I can't help but say that that's not it. So, like,
I think, but it's kind of like similar to the Kyle situation that you brought up last time. Like, if she does create interesting storylines, it takes the heat off of her and Kyle. They don't have to talk about their life. So maybe she has decided, let's turn this up a notch. Okay. And let's
focus on someone else's bad relationship.
And I technically brought Lexi in, so I need to be the one to kind of prompt it. So she could have gotten that idea.
I
want.
like,
hold on, that is my friend. I forgot.
I want to go with that so bad, but I just keep replaying, and I watched it so many times, that after show, and it felt so genuine. And I just, like, it felt like Kyle, when he does it, I know when he's doing it. Like, I know why he's doing it. And I feel like it is what you guys said, and something happened, and we have not gotten to it yet. And I want to know what the fuck that is. I want to know what the fuck that is.
Because like it even came out like for Lexi's birthday. Like, I'm sure people, like, when they responded, when she was like the two people who didn't respond also hung out. I think a lot of people just were like, they couldn't come because, like, I think only 2 people from the cast like showed up for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm curious of like what else happened. I mean, they could be busy. That's also true. Like, you're someone, you're not like, if they had another birthday of a friend that they knew, they'll probably go to that one first. But like, I'm just so curious now.
I actually think, now that I'm really trying to like think about it, like, I feel like maybe it is a happy medium of what you guys are saying. It could be like good storytelling, but not necessarily about being good storytelling. And it could be just what Kyle has asked her to do, because Kyle doesn't want it. Kyle is such a like control freak. And I feel like Kyle wants Jesse to get like the same thing that I believe that Kyle does for Carl, which all know that I think Jesse is just a Carl 2.0. Kyle loves a Carl, even if it's a ripoff Carl. He loves a Carl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I could see a world in which Kyle was like, Amanda, you have to get the girls on board with getting the audience on board with Jesse again. He's going to look bad. And I could see, and I feel like Amanda will do anything Kyle asks her to do, even if it makes her look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I don't know. It'll be the reunion will be interesting, because then they have to keep the same energy of going after Jesse. So, because if they try to be neutral at the reunion, no. Even though Lexi can stand on her own, because as we see in the show, but like the girls need to have her back in the reunion, friend or no friend. You can call your friend Jesse out and still not be friends with Lexi.
Wait, what?
Like, the girls need to hold Jesse accountable, so like they can call Jesse out and still not like Lexi.
For some reason, I thought it was going another direction. In my head, I decided what you were going to say, and then when you didn't say that, I was confused. Because I thought it was going to end like they should have Lexi's back and they're going to be friends, but it was like they can. You were like, okay, now I get it. You don't have to. No one is saying that you have to be Lexi's friend, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And if you're having a healthy friendship, you should be able to call your friends out when they're being wrong, and so that way, like because they do act all high and mighty when it comes to them. And the same behaviors that they say that they don't like in men, they're happily ignoring or like giving excuses for when Jesse does them. And so it's like, so which one? It'd be different if you like don't care about that stuff. But you guys are so vocal about how much you
Yes.
don't like when men do this, but like then a man is doing this that I guess is your friend, and so like he gets exempt.
I also thought it was very convenient, now that I think about it, that to your point, Jaleeza, after all the talk that we've been having and discussions online about them not being girls or whatever, that Amanda finally remembered that she brought Alexi on and that she was her friend. And she pointed out, if this happened to like Paige or Sierra, I would say something. I want to know when that interview was filmed. Because I thought that was very, very convenient that after show has been cut and she has these like talking points about all the things that everyone has been saying online.
Yeah. It takes you into episode 10 to all of a sudden be like, oh, wait, maybe we should at least try to get the other side of the story and just validate some of these things Jesse is saying.
That's a good point. Because
timing seemed interesting.
You guys are both. That kind of went over my head a little bit. I kind of think I was naive in thinking that it was a pretty good prompt and made sense story narratively in what happened in the episode. But I never thought about how it could have been something inserted later to rewrite or put Amanda back in a better light and to be able to, because again, a lot of the criticisms were kind of addressed within that that single confessional, not necessarily on screen during filming, but after it. And I could see Amanda asking Lexi those questions without thinking about I should ask because it's Paige, I would do it for Paige, and more so doing it because she's just straight up bored and nosy. And also because she probably thought she was going to get a different answer than what she got.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I'm also curious, because I know you're reading it in order, but just for my memory's sake, did she have that conversation with Lexi before Schwartz and Kyle had their conversations about the sperm?
She had multiple conversations with Lexi, but you're talking about her very first one?
Yeah.
Wasn't that when they were doing the crafts?
No, they were outside, but were the boys there yet? Sorry, I'm just trying to think because
I thought that was Friday night, but I could definitely.
So the first conversation that Amanda had with Lexi was on crafting night. So there was
so that would have been Friday night. The sperm thing seemed like it was the following morning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that takes my theory out. Because I was wondering if she was let's stir up drama because in that they were talking about well, Kyle and her did have that conversation of how she doesn't know if she wants to have kids or not.
Mm-hmm.
But Amanda being okay, I don't want this to be a topic of discussion. Let's start throwing up some drama.
Oh.
So let me start talking. So that was where my head was
going.
Oh,
okay.
But, I don't know.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're saying she was purposely trying to redirect the conversation by pointing let's throw Lexi in there and let's talk about that and not talk about what's going on with me right now. I'm not ready to talk about
because we
a misdirect.
Yes, if the house is talking about it, it becomes a story. And so what you brought up about Kyle being a producer and a pro, you could be listen, I'm having my sperm kit's coming this weekend, so I'm gonna have some of these conversations. So,
but I mean, even if it chronologically that is not what happened, it could be subconsciously what prompted her to start talking to Lexi. You know what I mean?
Or
in the
it
sense
could have been chronologically, because remember what Vanita said, and even if she was lying,
I can't
things
go
get
by.
shot out of.
They move things around.
Please don't
I know,
use
I'm
Vanita
sorry.
as a way in which to prove your point.
They
because
do
that woman.
So a movie that's been shot, they will film the last scene, but it would be the first scene. So they do move things around. So she could have had that conversation the day of the party, after Schwartz and Kyle had their conversation.
Absolutely. Yes, they do that all the time. That's how they shoot TV. That's how they shoot movies. And that is absolutely what they do in reality TV. Reality TV is no stranger to being taking creative liberties on timelines of when things have been filmed, even going as far as to cut things together to make sentences. So very, very plausible. Vanita was not a good example, though, because she is an unreliable source.
I know, but she's better now.
I mean, I'm going to tell it like it is. That is not a reliable source, but there are a lot of examples, and there's a lot of proof, and producers have said that themselves on many reality shows that they do that. So that is very much a well-known thing. So it's true. That could have literally been like chopped up, moved around. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's a reasonable theory too. So we're putting that into the ether. Let's hope. I don't know. Maybe. What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Right,
Do you
let
think
us know.
is that a plausible plausible theory? What are your thoughts on that? But moving right along, so while like Jesse and Wes are driving up, they end up calling Carl on the way, and that's how they introduce the fact that Schwartz from Vanderpump Rules will be spending the weekend at the house. Schwartz says it's not unusual for Schwartz to have a cameo, or anybody from the Vanderpump Rules universe to have a cameo. It's happened many times over the year. Literally, Vanderpump Rules is how we entered into Summer House in the very beginning, although it was the girls that we use as a vessel. It's very clear that they're all friends. We see them online, so that's not unusual. I would go as far as to say a little unnecessary, in my opinion, the way that they were like highlighting it this year about him being there, because I feel like they have never gone out of their way to highlight Schwartz popping by to hang out or go to a party. Because again, like they've done that millions of times before. Like he was going to like be a part of the story somehow. And I thought, I was like, he did not do anything this whole episode. Like, what did he, what? And that's fine. But like the way in which they were like, they kept on being like, Schwartz is going to be coming. Like, I was like, oh, he is going to be a part of like the tea. Like something's going to happen. And he was just there. Like I barely noticed that he was there, to be honest.
He didn't move the story along in any way. Like I was almost waiting for him to like hook up with one of the girls, like, or like to be the one that like brings the information, you know, between Lexi or Jet, like some sort of pivotal role. Cause normally it's just like, oh, look, he showed up. But like, yeah, it just seemed like there was all this lead up. And is it just because he's not on Vanderpump Rules anymore? So they want to like
exactly.
Hey, look at Schwartz still. But
that was what I was.
It was a little bit of a letdown.
That was what I was getting to. I wrote in my notes that Schwartz at this point to me feels like the latchkey kid, and Bravo is his parent that is late picking him up, and he is just being shuffled around place to place while he just tries to find his home. And he's on the valley right now. Like I'm like, this man is just wandering.
They're doing the same thing with Lala and Sheena.
Yes.
I think they're trying to test the audience, just like how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and what they needed to do was bring Sheena in that damn house. She would have got to the bottom of some of them answers. Okay.
Yes.
She would have been like, Lexi, I heard this, I heard that. That's literally, Sheena's only useful because she loves to gossip. Okay.
As much as I have criticism for Sheena, I do find her very necessary for reality TV, because one thing about Sheena is she don't have no type of shame. And you honestly, and I'm not saying that to be like mean. I'm saying that literally in the best way possible, because you kind of need that type of element to be a successful reality star. Every really successful reality star has no shame, because you like that's how you make good TV. And that's one of the reasons I feel like Gabby is not making good TV, because she got too much, like she is too aware and she is unwilling to make herself look like a fool. And we know Sheena does not care about that as long as check clears.
Well, there's where you have to figure out your role. And unfortunately, like, you know, like Paige has shame, but like she knows her role and where she needs to be for reality TV. Whereas Gabby, unfortunately, the only open role right now is to be the Sheena. So you've got to figure it out quickly.
And the thing is, she's one toe in, one toe out with it. And I need her to just stay all the way 10 toes down. Because like she's good at it when she commits, but that's the problem. She's like not committing to it enough. I'm like, commit to it, because you're so good when you do. Like, you know what I mean? She has all the potential, and I want her to fully dive in.
This is also where I'm like, I need them to stop prompting like Carl, because like back to the Schwartz thing, like he was like, oh, Schwartz is coming at such a good time. The house needs it. And it's like, the house doesn't need it. No. The house was fine. Everybody's been getting along, having fun. Schwartz wasn't even fun to party with.
To piggyback off of that, that was my main thing about Carl. The way that they're editing Carl, like the producers are doing interesting editing with everybody, and like really trying to paint people into these narratives. Like Carl is supposed to be the lost boy, the vulnerable guy, the boy, like the innocent boy that just needs like help. And like, I'm like, can someone please run the footage back when that man was wild as fuck? Like, I understand he was like drinking and on and, you know, other substances, but like this man is like that doesn't wipe away his memories of like how he used to like be. Like, he's acting like he's never had like, I'm like, he's only had like a couple of partners in his life. Like, he don't know what like having a one night stand is like it's like he's a brand new person. And with that didn't,
he is kind of.
No, he is a brand new person, but he's acting as if he doesn't remember like this is like he hasn't had experiences in life, that he hasn't lived a life.
He's never been a fuckboy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the issue I'm having. Like, yes, he's changed person, but like he is really like, you would think that he has never lived a life. If you were just watching this show from today, you would think that this man has never lived a life. And that's what's irritating me.
I agree. I think I'd be on Carl's neck. But like one thing I have been like looking into is where like people who have finally gotten sober, they're like, you just have a different confidence when you're drunk. So a lot of his like, you know, him having sex with people. And like, again, this doesn't excuse how poor he was to people when he was like sober. Like he said mean things. But like this is a new experience for him of having sex with people sober. And like maybe if it is true that his last encounter was with Lindsay, somebody he's been with for years, that can feel a little different, that you have to now start this new dating. But I do get your point in terms of like, yes, this is new, but like now it just feels almost like a bit, like it just doesn't feel authentic.
And I don't even think I don't even like, even with saying that, and I guess with you like adding that, I don't even think that I really meant from Carl necessarily completely. I do think that he sometimes like, he lets people make that his narrative. But I think that the editors and specifically are doing that. Like, even like later on in the episode when they have the boys' night at dinner and they're playing that game about like what kind of porn that they watch and stuff like that. And Carl, I don't think that he did this for like, oh, look at me. I'm like, I'm so lame. This like, I think he genuinely was like, well, I like this type of porn, which is tan lines, which is like,
do my face like that.
Right. But, but the thing is, the question was.
Here's a good question. What's the weirdest niche porn category you found yourself gravitating towards?
I love massage porn.
It's pretty PG-13. It is PG-13. I mean, it doesn't always end that way.
Oh, it's rated X, brother. I had a thing with like, I just searched tan lines. I like a tan line porn.
All right.
What niche type of porn do you like? And that was a niche porn. So the thing is, my point being is that the editors put this like music on top of it to deflate it. I know that all of them did kind of like, that's the type of porn, but like they exaggerate it. And I feel like they've been exaggerating these things. And I think that that's what they also do to Imrul. Like, these things are happening with Imrul, but like they're choosing to like really carve out specific things. And that's what I feel like they've been doing with all of them. Like, they were like, I want Imrul to be the sex guy. I want Carl to be the guy that doesn't know how to have sex. You know, like,
they also are looking to, and this is why I kind of feel like Kyle he really is a producer, because like they're, to your point, the same thing that you called out about like the Jesse of it all. Like, it's like, we got to get the audience back on Jesse's side and make Lexi seem like the crazy one. I feel like they're trying to do the same thing with Carl by being like, oh my God, he's like, bless his heart, he's so sweet and innocent. Because even Wes said it. He was like, oh my God, you know, poor, sweet, innocent Carl. Like, this is the type of porn he watches. And it's like, but for watchers who've been watching since season 1, us, we're like, y'all can't fool us.
Yeah. It's like, when you watch hardcore porn where they have tan lines, it doesn't mean he's watching like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
HBO Max. Like, this,
funny enough, they no longer do that on HBO.
Those
were the days.
They no longer have the late night option. Just like,
how you know that?
Watches like
I
soft
looked it up.
Right. Like, just like innocent.
Like, but like, they're just like trying like buckets that are just very like archetypes. Like, oh, he's just so. And like, we know that that's not the case. Like, sure, a part of him may be struggling with figuring out how to hook up with people sober, but like, let's not pretend that there's not more to him besides this. We've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I mean. Like, please stop doing that. Like, That's fine. He can grow, and I would never want to stop his growth. And to your point, and I'm glad you brought it up, Shirla, being sober and him having to deal with to be fair, these are his first experiences as a sober person. So I don't want to take that away.
Yeah.
So I will walk that back. See, look, I can hear and receive information, evaluate it, decide if I want to throw that away or not. And I'm receiving it.
But I feel like that's not your fault that you're coming to that conclusion. I feel like this is where it kind of goes back to, I feel like everything's a callback, but it kind of goes back to Ryan Coogler and his storytelling. Like the producers have a responsibility to tell these stories. Like Carl's story is very real.
Yeah.
But they do such a poor job in telling that story. Emerald has a story, but yet people are like, what does him having sex with everybody have to do with him being an undocumented, immigrant? Like, and it's like, there are stories. I'm sure they didn't even let him finish that thought. There's other parts of his life that'd be great to show, but yet you only show Lexi's, whole side of like, her family and all the things that she's doing, but not certain people. So it's like, they need to do a better job in telling these people's stories so we can get to know them and not be so harsh on them.
And actually, this is a great segue because when we do get to the house, they do mention that Emerald is not going to be in the house this weekend, and they do a flashback of unseen footage or whatever of Emerald telling the house the prior weekend that he wouldn't be there for the next weekend because he has something to do for work. That's what he says. So like everybody's criticism of Emerald is like his whole personality is like his sex life, right? But we've made the point of, yes, he's open about it, but it's because he's also prompted a lot by the house. And this is another example. And I feel like I already can tell people are going to be like, see, all he does is have like sex, because then what happens is when he's saying that to Lindsay then playfully says, oh, because it's another play date. And then he says, maybe so. Like, yes, I think I might have like be, doing that as well. That might be one of the things, but he wasn't going to say that because I think he was really, because you have to think about this. This is coming off of the conversation that he had with Paige, where he was called out for being hypersexual and flaunting it. And he also, in a confessional on last week's episode, said he did not want to be known for just that. And I do think that this is an example of him trying to do that. And then the house continually being only interested in that. And I'm not trying to, throw Lindsay under the bus because she hasn't personally had an issue with it. She doesn't seem bothered by it. But I feel like we also then cannot act as if he's not being asked by many, many people in the house about his sex life. So like, that's annoying. And I also think it's annoying and unnecessary that they even kept it in or put it, not even kept it in, went out of their way to put it in to mention why he's not there, when it's not unusual for people to not be there for a weekend and it not even be brought the fuck up. Or even needed to have footage to show them saying that. Like Gabby wasn't there for a couple weekends. We have not addressed at all Bailey not being there. But we needed to see the footage of Emerald saying that he just not going to be there that weekend, just because they really wanted to highlight that he's probably at a swinging party. Again,
horrible.
It's the editing. It is the editing. And it's unfair.
It's the editing, and also, again, the people in the house too. Because we also brought up with Jesse at one point, he had said like, oh, like I've had conversations with Emerald, but like they all felt so serious. So like so many people probably had conversations and were just like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Just walk away. Or like in Jesse's case, he probably like, this won't get any screen time, so I don't want to talk to you anymore. So it's like,
that's actually a good point, Shirla, because last week when we were talking about both Lexi and Jesse going on their podcasting tour of telling their side of the story, that is actually something that Lexi brought up when she was on the podcast reality. She said that she didn't understand it quite then, but in retrospect, this makes a lot of sense watching what she's watching back and how Jesse is acting and behaving. When they were dating, he would often tell her, according to Lexi, that, oh man, Wes got all of the attention last year. I didn't get that much screen time. Like he was very focused on screen time, according to Lexi. So for her, she thinks that could be one of the reasons why he was stirring up drama or just, in her opinion, lying on and misrepresenting what was happening with that between the two of them, because he was so annoyed with the fact that and seemingly jealous that Wes got highlighted. Although, like, I would say that Jesse did too. So it seems like, and the thing is, yes, Wes got highlighted a lot, and after the show, Wes ended up getting highlighted a lot in a negative way. But it seems like Jesse is not concerned about it being positive or negative as long as it's on him. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Very, very interesting. And maybe it probably goes back to like why the girls had different energy for him after the season. Being just like, we know that he's doing this for show and this is the job. So that could be why Amanda was just like, I'm going to switch it up. Because I'm like,
it's not
something
for her.
has to explain it.
It's not for her. For Amanda, she's like, it's what probably she has seen a lot with a lot of these Bravo celebrities. It's like, I mean, they were friends with Craig, who is the person that does that a lot. Kyle, her literal husband, does this. So for her, she's desensitized to this behavior. That doesn't excuse it. That everybody operates like that. I mean, clearly Amanda does, but like that's a plausible reason. Just for her, it just wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It just wasn't that deep. So we're like looking for this like missing scene, and it just literally could just be like Amanda could just give 2 fucks about anything.
Right. Yeah. It's just work.
It's possible.
Clock in, clock out.
Job. Right. If you want to be here next season, you need to turn it up.
Turn it up, bitch. The first thing I could see is Jesse keeps playing victim. Yep, that's tracks.
He was so annoying.
The victim hit, like, they should have just scored the whole episode with a tiny little violin, because that's all he was doing, was crying all fucking episode about how he was a fucking victim. Like, I could not.
Oh my God, I loved when Lindsay was like, just ask her if she's upset.
Yes.
I'm like, this is why we love her.
I literally wrote that down. Like when Shirla's going to the part at the end when Jesse, for the millionth time in this episode, is like trying to be like, Lexi's mad at me. I don't know why. Like, and Lindsay is like literally like, just ask her, and then just walks away. Like that's actually something Lindsay has been doing a lot this season, which I love. It's just like, I'm gonna give you advice, and I don't care to say anything else about it. Bye-bye. Like, I ain't in it. I ain't in it. For once.
Do your job.
For once. So then, so we're at the house. Everybody finally arrives. Like, Schwartz gets there. Don't know why we cared. I feel like Schwartz is the only purpose to me this entire episode was to show that he was going to be in Emerald's room. And at a certain point, all the boys are in Emerald's room where Schwartz is staying. And that's how we get Toegate to be brought up. Because, like, then Kyle's like, oh, you should have, like, Emerald's room. And, like, then Jesse's like, I got in trouble for this whole thing, Toegate. And Jesse has literally, I feel like Jesse thinks that the more he says his version of the story, which is incredibly watered down, I get it. He doesn't know at this point that he was on hot mic saying I'm getting so hard. So he does not technically know this. So, but he is literally trying to, with every retelling of Toegate, it gets more and more watered down. He is trying to make it seem like to Schwartz that it was like, it was like almost like a dare, like when you're like a kid and you're like, I dare you to like lick her foot, like something so silly and not sexual and more gross than anything. Like, not in a sexual way, just like ew, like I like made her like. I'm surprised he didn't say, and I was like walking around barefoot and I was like, lick my toe. Like, it was so gross. She licked it. It was like he's like trying to say it like he's a little kid. But when I heard that Debo ass voice in that mic, like, I'm getting hard. Like, okay.
Like, yes. What we heard was much different than the way he has told the story every time. So,
and they try to minimize it in that room. That's what, to your point, that's the reason why they all went in there. So they're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. She's just over-exaggerating. We've done much worse.
Exactly.
Actually, all of them have.
And they were laying here just like you are.
And then I have to understand that not everybody is like us and watches every fucking show on Bravo. So for context, for anybody who only exclusively watches Summer House and has never seen Vanderpump Rules, so they don't understand who Schwartz is, and I could understand, especially if you've never watched Vanderpump Rules, you would think that Schwartz is a docile, very, like, quiet person. He is nothing of the sort. Oh, rude. That light went out. He has nothing of the sort. And he is literally Carl, Jesse, Kyle even, and West, they are able to get away with the things that they get away because Schwartz walked for them to be able to run. He is the original OG of like toxicity in a relationship. So it's actually a really funny, like, if you really look at that scene and watch this man like Schwartz, who created the toxicity of Bravo men, laying on the bed while all his disciples tell them all their bad behavior is, and him also help minimize his disciples of, you have been absolved of your sins. It's laughable.
Mm-hmm. That's actually so true. He is the original. Because like from what we've known about how, it's just, I'm just a little boy. You have to forgive me, right? Like he really was able to create that role. And now they're all playing that same role. And they've done it in certain seasons.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's just so funny to me. So yeah, in case you have never seen Vanderpump Rules, you don't even have to watch the show, but you can just put Schwartz in TikTok or any type of Google search and just get a highlight reel of just a compilation of him being a fucking dick to women, to his wife.
But you're also the catalyst because you tore away all the confidence that woman ever had in herself.
What?
After the continuing betrayal of
husband. You were a husband.
Oh, I was not. Where do things stand?
It's quite something. There's a reason why they keep trying to figure out if he can be on another show. He should be entertaining, but I think he's just so tired from all his shenanigans. No pun intended, Sheena. When is it going to be about me? You know what I mean? But yeah, so yeah, there was a lot of gaslighting happening in that room for me. I'm surprised that they made it out with all the gas that was just in that closed room. Like, for real, it was suffocating.
That bed is also very small.
That was the biggest takeaway because there was a foursome-ish that happened in that room.
That bed was very small.
Yeah, well, the way he was like, oh yeah, they were all the way over there. Like, what do you mean all the way over there? There were 3 of them. Like, you had to be right up on them. Like, he makes it seem like, oh, they were so far from me.
And it just almost makes it worse to your point.
That room.
Yeah, that bed was small.
It's like, so you was like real intimate in this bed at a certain point. Like, okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
It was giving 2 men was laying in that bed and 2 women were on top of both.
Yeah, he a big old man too. There's a tall glass of water.
What do you say we go somewhere else?
That's a huge bitch.
Like, he takes up most of the bed. When he was trying to put his body in to show us what he did not do. Okay.
Yeah, like that doesn't even look like a comfortable like position to be in. Like you just don't make any sense. So that man's lying to us, and we know it.
So we're at the house, right? And at some point, when Sierra comes to the house, and people are going outside to greet her, Jesse tries to go in for a hug, and immediately Sierra's like, "Oh no." Like, she strong arms him, and Jesse knows this isn't going to be a good weekend for me and Sierra. So he's already like spiraling in his head and trying to figure out ways in which to. I don't think like he's sure of who he wants to demonize at this point. If it's going to be Lexi or Sierra, ends up being both at different points. He's really going back and forth. He can't really land on who he wants to throw under the bus, so he just ends up throwing everybody under the bus. So
to see what sticks.
Yeah, exactly, and it's nothing. It's nothing sticks, not for me at least. And I also I completely agree. I don't have much, I'm going to say this. I don't think I have much criticism for Sierra in this episode because I would be doing the same thing. Like, personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wasn't involved much because she was decorating the entire time.
Absolutely.
It's just like, what was Amanda and Paige do? They were just like, poor Sierra was doing all the legwork.
Yeah, no, Sierra was clocked in. She was locked in. She was hyper focused.
Yeah.
She was like, this is about to be good. And also by the way, we find out that Sierra says lets the audience in on the fact that the bed bugs are going to be throwing the party this weekend. And honestly, it's probably the best theme I've probably ever seen on that show. And it's called
it looks so good.
It was the idea was amazing, and the title for it was amazing too. Snooze Fest. Like, that is what, like, I wonder, I'm very curious if it was Paige's idea, at least like in the sense of like the name and the branding of it. It probably also, I mean, I know Amanda does that kind of stuff too. Like, I think it was definitely, I think it was a collaboration, but I only say like the name of it because like we saw with Giggly Squad, like Paige is really good at taking what people make fun of her or them about and turning it into a positive. And like obviously we all say like all they do is lay up in his bed. So I'm like, I was like, I wonder if Paige's contribution to this was like, let's call it Snooze Fest. But I also can see exactly where everybody in that trio, that dynamic participated. Like, I definitely think it was like a complete, like, you know how there's like a group project and there's usually only one person that's really doing it while everybody takes credit. Like, I definitely think this was like a true collaboration.
Yeah.
It was great. Like, and I hope it's an annual thing.
I do
thing.
too.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
I want to go to Snooze Fest.
Did it very well.
Their outfits were so cute.
I know
Gabby was so pissed. I know Gabby, when she saw them in their outfits, she was like, I'm a cotton.
And I'm a sheep.
Yes.
I mean, which was also very cute. I liked her little counting sheep costume. The girls in the pink, I mean,
everybody crushed it. And I will like,
why was Schwartz an angel?
Irony?
What does that have to do with snoozing? He's the only one that I was a little bit like, I mean, I get it, you're not a cast member, but like,
I don't know, but you are, Jaleeza. It's becoming very clear that you're very good at calling people's inaccurate costumes or stupid costumes out.
I love a costume party. So.
I do too, but you are really, because I'm going to tell you this,
like,
Schwartz didn't exist to me this episode.
I know, I didn't even see
So
him.
I didn't even know that he was an angel to be real with you.
Low key, I thought Schwartz was a pillowcase, to be quite fair.
I didn't know that I really can't remember him at the party at all. Like, I can't.
I remember him because of the.
It was only when he took the shot.
Luge. Yeah, that's what. What was Carl wearing?
He had on like silk pajamas. I mean, it was on theme, but boring.
Yeah, because like Lindsay was a teddy bear.
I loved that.
So
the girls 10 out of 10.
Wes was good too.
What if
Wes like don't wake daddy.
Oh, I did love that. Oh,
yes.
No,
Wes
I would
so
say
good.
even though I wrote something negative about Jesse's costume, it was also fitting.
It was
Jesse.
Hugh Hefner.
It was Hugh Hefner.
Oh yes,
yeah.
It was Hugh Hefner because like that is like such a like as soon as I saw it, I was like Hugh Hefner. I don't know if he had like am I making this up? Is like this a Mandela effect? Is Hugh Hefner like? Is there pictures of him like in that type of robe and like with a pipe, or am I making that up?
Yes, you're correct.
So. Okay, because I was like, I could be making. You know how like there's those Mandela effects where they're like, there was never a monocle on the Monopoly person.
Yes.
There was never a like basket for the Fruit of the Looms. I'm like, I'm telling you, there was. And I'm sorry, I'm getting on a tangent, but I am telling you, there was a monocle on the Monopoly person. And I think I went down a rabbit hole because there's a creator on TikTok that literally does Mandela effects and tries to like.
Now your fire alarm.
Wait, there wasn't this time.
There wasn't a monocle on his...
Wait, hold on. I don't want. I want to actually do this. Fuck me, man. This better not last long.
Of an emergency. Here's the empty.
Is this a real?
No, it's not. One of these days, it's gonna be real. The thing is, I just hope it goes off soon because sometimes when this happens, it like goes on for like a long time. But that's only usually when it's a scheduled thing. What happened is, I'm sure someone either pulled the alarm in the building or you're not allowed to smoke in this building. And sometimes people do it and in the hallways or something like that. And it triggers the smoke detector. And then this happens and I'm not leaving. So I hope, you know what I do sometimes? I'll like go on my balcony and I'll look to see if I can see anything that looks like smoke and also see if anybody else is doing it.
Oh, I do the same thing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because
you can't take the elevator. You have to take the stairs.
Yeah, and it's just also I don't want to.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that. I'm like I have to take Penn. Like I have to get him ready. Like I'm doing all that.
We don't need this part recording.
Okay. Anyway, glad that you also agree that there was a pipe, and I'll try to find a picture to prove that point. Insert it. But yeah, I feel like the costuming. I just feel like the whole party theme was great. It looked fun. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I agree.
10 out of 10. And I also really
I say that party and then they did that alien party. That was
Oh yeah, that was a good.
those two were my favorite.
That was a good one. I do, and Jaleeza, to your point, I love a costume party as well. Like I love a costume
theme.
party.
I love a theme.
I also love that how much like Sierra. I love that she also loves a costume themes because I can always count on her to always have really well thought out, like really crazy costumes that she does herself. And I feel like she finds such enjoyment doing herself. Like she always puts on the prosthetics and all that stuff by herself. Like she could easily like pay someone to do that for her. And I think the part of it is like doing it herself, which
creative part.
Which I think also is an allure about Sierra because she is like, she's just like the things that she's into go against what she like outwardly looks like, which makes her like that much more desirable. Like it's like, you're such like you're kind of geeky. Like you like to like FX, like special effects makeup, and you don't care about like necessarily like being cool. Like she'll like shoot like one of the parties that they threw. Like she was like in one of those blow up type of. I don't remember what it was.
The like car thing, like when they had that. Like,
yeah.
And I love that she's not just always like, she doesn't just go like the obvious hot girl route, which obviously she could do.
And she
but,
does
like,
sometimes and like makes it weird, like sexy weird or whatever.
Yeah, but like she's a seagull. She's the like blow up guy. Like, I just love that she just goes somewhere that you wouldn't necessarily think, and she doesn't just do like, oh, I'm just in a little bikini. Like you can tell there's more to her.
Like I would have been
like Heidi Klum.
Yes.
She's famously known for doing that. And so it's like it's good to know just it's like, maybe it also could just be a whole thing of like her job is to be hot. So like she's just like, I want to, some people talk about this a lot too. Well, I guess Lexi tried to talk about this. Being like, growing up being so hot, I got bullied for it. But like people then kind of overcompensate and be like, okay, my job is for my looks. Yeah. Now I'm like, I want to show other parts of my life. And I'm super creative. I'm pretty much a geek. I love nursing and all that stuff. So to you guys' point, it's like great to see them explore that these people are so like multifaceted and you can see more things about them.
Yeah. And also I just feel like she's so confident in like her appearance and in a sense where I like it's easy for like I like that we are pointing these things out. Like she doesn't have to like comment on the fact like look at me, like I'm like wearing these prosthetics because like I don't like
I'm such a nerd.
Like like she's not commenting on it, and I think genuinely she's not because like she just actually like enjoys these things and she's not trying. It's not like pick me things like where she's trying to like look at me being so relatable. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
And
which that makes me so sad because it's like then why does she allow these men? Because she's so confident in other things, but then when it comes to like these Bravo men, which I'm happy she's like cut the cord. I can't do any more of them. But like she then allows these mediocre men to make her feel small. And I think that's a running theme because it's like we see it with Paige where she had to cut the man that made her feel small and now she's thriving. Yeah. And I think Amanda must love this. So
she does.
I can't comment on her.
I can't. No comment on Amanda. I'm so tired of commenting on her. She's full of comments.
So we're very happy to see Sierra just get so excited about something. And like this theme, she was so excited and she's super creative. As you can see.
She was like, I have no time for Jesse's nonsense. Like, she's like, I'm locked in. I love this type of shit. And I'm not subscribing to whatever bullshit he's on right now. And we have a moment of that in the episode when they are setting up for the party in the morning. But before we get there, I just want to say, like, honestly, I personally really enjoyed and wanted them to stay longer on crafting night because I was having a great time watching them make those bows and all the things that they were making.
Those bows were stunning.
Stunning. I was having such a good time watching them make all that stuff. But to go back to Sierra and her moment she did have with Jesse the next day, and then I'm actually going to then go back to crafting night because we do find some stuff out about Lexi that we need to talk about. But then the next day she's like to Jesse, or not, no, she's actually speaking to Carl, but Jesse doesn't realize that because like everybody's in the room when she says this, and she thinks that Jesse thinks that Sierra is speaking to everyone in that or all the boys and asking to help put this trampoline together outside, and she's really just talking to Carl and anybody else that's not Jesse. And she makes that very clear when Jessie then takes the opportunity to be like, okay, this is my moment to get like back good with Sierra. And she's like, Sierra, as one of your really good guy friends, and she's like, I'm not talking to you, Jessie. Okay, because we already know you weren't going to do anything. And then just walks away. And Jessie looks so deflated, and I loved it. He was just like, you could have let me finish. Like, he was so fucking mad about that.
Loser.
Like, this was him. He was just pouting the entire episode. And what was so refreshing was he tried so hard and used every tactic in his fucking book that typically does work with a lot, like generally work, but was not working in this episode with Lexi and was not working with Sierra. And they were calling him out in the moment. And he was getting so frustrated. And he kept switching tactics. And that's why we kept seeing this volley of him going from trying to blame Sierra to blaming Lexi, because every time he chose a side that he wanted to villainize, that other side that he would call him out, and then he would go back to and it was great. It was amazing.
But it was only not just them, also the house too.
Yes.
Which Kyle had his moment of being like, that doesn't make sense. You sure Sierra is the one that's like being like all these things? So he wasn't able to be validated by anybody in the house.
Yeah, he spent, and that's
get away with it.
Absolutely. That's completely a great point, because that's why, like, back to what we said earlier in the episode, and like when you said the wheels were turning, I think that's why this episode should be called The Wheels Are Turning. Maybe I'll like name that part of the podcast title, because everybody in the house at some point called him out. Or they really like made a point to be like, that doesn't make sense. Like, he was very much left exposed this episode, and he fucking knows it, and it was pissing him off. But going back to what you're talking about with Kyle, like jumping back in time again to the crafting night. So we're at the house. The girls send the boys away to have a boys' night so that they don't mess up them doing their crafting and get in the way. They're locked in. They're making this an amazing party. And spoiler, it was. And then they go out. They go to their boys' night, and they keep cutting back and forth between the girls and the boys. And this is when we first start, the wheels really start turning for the women in the house. And Amanda I think this is the first time Amanda takes the opportunity to ask Lexi, like, so, like, what are you guys? Like, define the relationship, which we then get some really funny moments, because we find out that Gabby, because like Lexi says, well, we're exclusive. And like these millennials, these old millennials are like, no, now what does that mean to you, Gen Z? Because I know what that means to me.
Explain this to me like I'm 5.
Exactly. And here come, again, which is why I need Gabby. And again, she could just be being edited this way. But like when she's locked in, she's locked in. She's like, listen, I'll take this here now. Because I took the liberty to look this up on TikTok.
Right.
What, like that, like she is a millennial, true and true, because I do the same thing too. Like whenever I'm hearing new phrasings that are made up by Gen Z, I'm up here like, you ain't gonna catch me being old. What does this mean?
Right.
Like,
what are the kids
what the hell does this mean? And the TikTok always will tell me, so that's nice. But then they go deeper. This is the first time we're actually going deeper with Lexi. And that's when the wheels start turning, because then Lexi not only says that, she says, but if it was up to Jessie, like he's saying that to him, it means like you are my girlfriend. Not necessarily to me. I think that this is the getting to know you phase. And that's when people are like, oh,
wait a second.
On. Like they're like, my man is letting that marinate for a second, like, hold on now.
It's already not adding up.
Right. I thought you proposed to him yesterday.
Yeah, like what? She doesn't go too hard because she's still letting that marinate. But I think that, honestly, then maybe that's answering our question, that she was just not, again, like expecting that response based upon what Jessie has been saying. And she didn't like, dig too much deeper within that conversation. But I think that she was left unsatisfied and nosy and was like, I need to know more. And I think that's honestly why she ends up asking her even more questions the next day. And and she's like, I can, no. Like, something not making sense now. Like Jessie is my friend, but I want to know the tea more. But then we also have cut to the dinner with Jesse and the rest of the guys. And again, Jesse is taking every opportunity to justify why he strong-armed Sierra in this episode. And he's retelling the story to the guys. And like you said, Shirla, this is when Kyle is like, he's like, his face is like open mouth, like, okay. And this is, hold on. So Sierra is the one that, wait, hold on now. So wait, you strong-harmed her. Is it, and she's reacting, is it because of what you did? Could that be a possibility, Jesse? And he's like,
you were all over her before this?
No. Like, that could not be a possibility. It's like, like everyone is like listening to this story like, God, you're my friend, but like,
This don't make no damn
don't
sense.
think this makes sense. In any
And
capacity.
typically, I'm able to coach you guys off screen before you say some dumb shit like this.
Yeah, he's like, and I feel like that's when Kyle's like, oh no.
Right.
Oh,
we gotta switch gears. We gotta actually, this is where Kyle probably was like, we gotta bring in Amanda to actually make Lexi go crazy.
Yeah.
So people can't see that Jesse is really the dummy. So they need to be like, okay, she actually is crazy and jealous. Look at her going off on him. So they were like, we gotta get into gear.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then again, like he's making, Jesse is underplaying how much he's actually wanting to have this commitment with Lexi. And we're validated when the boys do return home and all the girls at this point are asleep. And Lexi is in her room, in her bed, not Jesse's bed. That's very important detail. Her bed. And who the fuck comes scurrying along into her room? Jesse. And then what does he say? I missed you so much. And the only thing is, it's just validating the things that Lexi is saying. Like, Jesse tells me all these things. He's making it seem like he wants the commitment. He says how much he said, I love you. Like all these things, like he is not showing this perspective. Like, so I'm glad that they're keeping that in there.
They just like went out. They just had one night out.
Yeah.
And it's like, what exactly are you missing?
Yeah. Or like calling her on the way, like being like, okay, I'll call you. Like, and everyone being like, you're
about to go home now. Yeah.
Relax.
And I had actually a thought, and this is me just trying to really be open to the women. But again, I can't help but like not understand mostly Amanda after knowing all the things that she knows. But like in the moment, in real time during filming, my first thought was like, did they think that Lexi and Jesse's dynamic was similar to what was happening with I can't remember his name, Corey and that one Lindsay lookalike from Winter House, and them thinking, because I remember watching that, and the way in which Jesse paints the relationship, it's almost painting that dynamic, which I did think that girl was too much. Like where they were just in a Winter House and she was speeding things up and having this expectation of him not talking to anybody else in the house and just wanting like, and it was an unhealthy way in which to approach a new situation. And I know Amanda was in that house when that was happening. And I'm wondering, and because with her preconceived notions of, maybe younger people, I was like, is this what she's envisioning is happening based upon also what Jesse is saying? That was the one thought I had.
But again, it just still would then goes back to like, that's clearly not her friend, because she would have went to her earlier and being like, this is what this man is saying.
Yeah. And the thing is, she could have absolutely had that thought prior to this episode, but we know that she then gets the information, she receives the information, so she knows that that's not the case. And she's even said, oh, that's not what, like, I'm now knowing that, like, he is, like, underplaying, like, his part in it. So then that brings me back, like, yeah, maybe that's how it started off, but she absolutely got the information during filming, and she knows, and she's still choosing to now, like, misrepresent things as if she didn't know that,
Yeah, it's just so weird.
It's like, I'm conflicted.
Her movements just don't make sense, which then goes back to, like, and I hate the fact that we analyze things so closely, because, like, we're like, this is just, the story is just not there, and it doesn't make sense of how she got from A to B.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, my conclusion was given is that they were just talking and Amanda was just saying things, not being like, let me just get the other side.
Yeah.
I think they probably had a conversation about yellow, green flags, and she probably was like, oh, did you guys talk about you guys' yellow flags? Because this is what he said.
Yeah.
But not trying to be like, let me get the other side of the story.
It wasn't with
doesn't make
intention.
sense.
It wasn't with
Yeah.
intention to get the other perspective. It just happened that she did get it. And retroactively, possibly, they inserted a later confessional to, as we've pointed out, we believe the editors are really trying to paint narratives for each person. And this is a narrative that they have decided, in our opinion, for Amanda. Okay. All right. So now it's the next day. We kind of already talked about the ladies setting up for the party. And within that setup, we start seeing the cracks again happening. Jesse is I think there's a certain point where again, Lexi is with the ladies. And actually before this, Jess after the Sierra pretty much telling Jesse fuck off, I don't need your help. We see Jesse talking to Lexi on the couch, pouting about it, and Lexi being like, oh, are you excited for the party? And then him saying, no, Sierra's acting really weird towards me. Then we cut to at some point Lexi working and crafting with the girls, and this is when Amanda starts really digging and bringing up the yellow flags. And it's because she actually prompts it in because she was like, hey, what's going on? So what is going on with you and Jesse? Because he's acting really weird towards Sierra. And also because Lexi responds everything is great, but she's like, but he's being really weird to Sierra, and he honestly has all these yellow flags. So those are all resolved. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
What yellow flags? Tell me more, sis. And she's like, well, yeah, he told us all about you, keeping track of who he follows and making him unfollow, and that you have a huge problem with him commenting on any of our Instagrams about accounts. And she's like, hold up, that's not fucking true. And Amanda is like, huh? And she's like, I can answer both of those questions. And Lexi literally lays it out. She's like, let's talk about the following, unfollowing. That's not exactly what happened there. I ended up saying really anything about the following and unfollowing stuff after Toegate, only and also prompted by all of the DMs I'm getting with people warning me. And I'm trying not to be a dumb bitch here. And I'm trying to be like, should I care? Should I not care? And I don't want to be a dumb hoe out here and just believing him. And so we talked about it. And I don't think that he should be following random people as we're talking. I don't. And then and I agree. I agree.
If you look too much, one day you're going to want to touch. Okay. And so it's just
and then
it's also very weird.
It's
being weird.
It is very weird, especially with the fact that he seems like the person that has been accelerating the relationship. He's saying these things as if he wants to be in an exclusive relationship. And it's very clear what a relationship looks like to Lexi because she has told us what that looks like to her. So it would not be talking to other people. And then on top of that, we also have to remember he is a person that is in the public eye. So your everyday man that you're talking to in the real world is not going to necessarily be getting the DMs that this man is going to be getting because he is on TV. So when he follows somebody, when he DMs with somebody, it has a bigger weight on it. It really does. I don't necessarily think that anybody should be doing that, whether you are a personality or not. But it absolutely has a bigger weight if you're on TV. It does, and he knows that. So let's not act like that. I'm not going to suspend my belief in I think we need to normalize breaking the fourth wall here because I'm not an idiot. I'm literally watching a reality TV show. We all know this is a reality TV show, and that what happens when people are of note, they get DMs. So let's say what it is. Let's stop tap dancing around it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then also she addresses the whole thing about the not commenting on the ladies in the houses Instagram accounts with stuff. And she said, I didn't quite say that. All I said was, I think it's great that you hype up the women in the house, and I don't want you to stop it. But I do want you to shift how you do it because we are pursuing something. I want you to be respectful with still preserving, hyping them up. instead of saying you're the finest person in the world, can you say you looked great, beautiful? Like,
right. The outfit's beautiful. You look stunning.
Yeah, like just not
like
being
maybe
so
just
crass.
don't go so far. Yeah, like don't go so far that people think you're having an affair with Amanda. Like, you know, you can do it in a way that still like
Such a great point,
shows
Jaleeza.
interest, but it doesn't cross a line.
Yeah. And
I'm sure
glad
she's getting tagged in them too, being like, "Oh, look what Jesse."
your
Like
man.
and I know some people may say like, how would people know that Jesse was talking to Lexi at this time? We were seeing a lot of spoilers throughout the summer of people just like watching them film, and this was the gossip that they were hooking up.
Yeah.
So like that's how we know. So like, please.
But the thing is,
Again.
whether we knew or not, they know. So it doesn't change.
No, I mean the point of like some people can say like, why would girls be sending Lexi messages?
Oh, yeah. That's a
like,
fair
we all
point.
knew
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
That's a fair point. Like, again, like, unfortunately with social media, it's very hard to keep things like completely secret like it once was. So like reasonably, we kind of, and also possibly it was Bailey's fault because apparently she was the leak. So I don't know.
That's a great point.
So yeah,
Bailey girl catching strays.
Yeah, I do think that last season or this season that we're watching, I feel like I got the most spoilers I've ever gotten from Summer House.
Oh yeah, it was so annoying.
I damn near saw the whole show.
The whole show.
The raw footage. But so then so Jesse or not Jesse, so Lexi gives these ladies a deeper, perspective of what and her side of like the unfollow and following thing and the commenting, and they realized that what she was saying is a very reasonable thing, and Jesse was making it seem like it was unprompted and that she was and they actually, I will say this, in that conversation they did keep it very real with her. He was like, he is making it seem like you are a stalker, like stalking his life, like Jersey Story, you stalked my whole life on the boardwalk like crazy, like it's
right.
And that was not what she was doing. And so I love when people finally, like, one of my biggest pet peeves in like film or TV or anything is like when characters, like the conflict could be avoided by a simple conversation.
Yes.
Like just one simple conversation. And I think that's what's been irking me about this whole thing.
But also, and I think this is why Gabby and Paige are so necessary. They just literally call it out. Like Amanda was there to information share, and then Paige like brought it home. Gabby too. Gabby was like, girl, this don't make no damn sense. And like you can see it in Gabby's face. And I know, what's that girl's name? Lexi. I was going to call her Lizzie. Sorry, girl. Lexi was feeling that energy because Gabby was like, girl, this don't make no sense. Yuck. And she just, her whole facial expression changed. And Lexi kept looking over at her. And I know she kept being like, and Gabby was like, girl, you looking stupid.
Yeah.
You looking stupid.
And I'm happy that like Lexi actually took in what they were saying and didn't just think that they were making it up, because she doesn't really have a strong relationship with them. So she could have easily been like, these people are lying, like especially based off of how Jesse does treat her during the week. So like, I'm glad that she, like, I feel like she really is a lot more mature than people. I know I was giving her credit for, like, before like the season aired and stuff like that. I definitely judged her based off of her age and her appearance. And I just I didn't think that she was going to have this much awareness. And I know that a lot of people have, I keep on seeing a lot of criticism of the people like ourselves that are pointing out or maybe defending Lexi to a degree. But I don't really find it like defending. I'm just regurgitating what like she has presented to me. I'm not trying to like invent a way to defend her. She's literally, I feel like she's just literally communicating everything that she wants and it's very clear in how she communicates. So it's very easy for me to just point that out. But people are trying to make it into something like that where people are like babying Lexi. And I don't know. I personally don't think it's babying. I just feel like I'm pointing out the fact that she said that she had a boundary and this is what, and she stuck to it. I don't know.
I think it goes back to what we were saying. Like, people watch these shows and they judge it off of like what their favorites are doing. Like their favorites always need to be saved. and fall into that trap of these men playing them to their face, and they get the information and they still continue to pursue these men. Whereas Lexi got the information and she was like, you know what? I used to date David Beckham or whatever, Brooklyn Beckham.
Not David. Posh would be upset about.
Yes, Brooklyn Beckham and more celebrities. So Jesse, absolutely not. You're not about to play in my face. And once I hear this information, I'm going to believe the women.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I like
that.
Also don't. She had the smoke for Jesse. Like, she came to Jesse and she's like, "This is my problem, and this is what I've heard." It wasn't like she didn't even give him a chance to like come up with, you know, excuses or like manipulations. She was just very much like, "I heard this from the girls, and as a girl's girl, she believed them. She trusted the information she received, and she really didn't let Jesse slide either."
Dare I say that I'm seeing the evolution of a certain type of person in the house. Like, I feel like Lexi is the young Paige. Because Paige would also, when Carl was pulling shit like that too, like pantry, and she had boundaries and shit like that. You can't take me out during the week. We don't do pantry. Like, and she was always able to do that quickly. I'm seeing the same thing like that within Lexi. Paige is starting to be a little bit more of like, hey, I like, listen, I understand Lindsay a little bit more. I'm now like I'm in my 30s. I'm slowing down. I don't have time for the bullshit. If I'm right, I'm right. I could be wrong and I'm still right. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm seeing a little evolution of a certain trait. And I like it.
I agree. Well, this is why it's so puzzling to me why the audience aren't rooting for her. Like, it just like doesn't, like, I feel like they're not rooting for her because they're trying to excuse the backlash that the other girls are receiving.
Yes.
And by other girls, we're not talking about Paige. We're just talking about Amanda and Sierra, but it's based off of their actions and the things that they've been saying. But like, even when we brought up like the whole thing about like the girl's birthday and how she said 2 people didn't respond, like, she didn't say the whole cast showed up except those 2. She said 2 people didn't respond and they posted later that day. That's just the information and the truth. But yet people are like trying to poke holes and being like, she's leading the audience to give Sierra backlash. And it's like, no,
Sierra's actions are leading her to the backlash. And I do think that people need to, it's okay. Sierra has been on the show long enough to understand how things get spun. And I don't think there's any realm in world where her posting those pictures with Jesse and like, I'm not necessarily, she might not necessarily, and also posting pictures on the day that she doesn't go to Lexi's birthday. Like, I think that she knows it's very clear Sierra likes to send messages. She did it in this episode. When she's mad about something, she sends a message subliminally. That is one of the things that she defaults to. And I know she knows what's the rumors that have been, or the backlash, or the things that have been being said about her. She's so like, her posting those pictures are intentional. She like, those are like, these are signals. And I'm sorry, if you're going to put signals out there, then the blowback is something that you're going to have to take. And like, we can also like, and that's fine. And she's willing to take, but like, stop acting as if she's not aware of what she's doing as an audience.
Talk about babying. They are babying them.
I believe Sierra's very aware of what she's doing and she meant it, and that's fine. That's fine. But let's stop pretending like those were not moves that she made purposely. I guarantee they were.
And like, stop trying to create a problem with Lexi. And again, we are very fair people. When Lexi becomes a problem, we're going to call it out.
Absolutely.
But right now, she's really not doing anything.
And also Lexi having awareness of what was happening. I think that's the problem too. Like, I do believe Sierra purposely posted a picture on the day of Lexi's birthday with Jesse to send a message to Lexi, right? Because she knows she didn't respond to the thing, right? So I just think that like, Lexi being aware that happened and then telling us that shakes people. It's like, you're not supposed to, even if you know that somebody's doing something, you're not supposed to say that out loud. Why not? Why not?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why not? She's like, I know what she's doing here. But also what people then don't say is what she said after that. She said, I also could see a world in which she just feels maybe a certain way about me based upon what Jesse has been saying, because now I'm watching the show. And I see that he has told a very different version of everything. So I can also I could also see a world, and that's what I can't wait for the reunion, so we can actually talk. And again, sometimes it just takes a conversation.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing where like when Lindsay had called out that Sierra went to South Carolina and slept with Austin. It's like, you're not supposed to say those things, but like Lindsay and like I feel like Lexi, I don't know why that girl's name keeps tripping me up, are now realizing that you kind of have to piece things together for the audience, and it just doesn't make sense to leave it up to their imagination.
Yeah.
Or else they'll come to the worst conclusion. So she's like, here's the truth. This is what happened.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So then so yeah, we're at the part so then actually no. So Lexi gets this information. She's rightfully upset. She goes to her room. Jesse ends up visiting her
What's
in
her
her
dishwasher again?
No, remember I said I had the painters were coming, so of course now they're doing my. I'm like seeing these like random men on my porch.
Oh, I was like, I was wondering. I was like, who you keep looking at?
Like
I can always tell when somebody in Jaleeza's house.
I know her
pulled out the
eyes.
spray gun. I'm like,
Right.
It's all in her eyes. She always be like, she's always like looking like, oh no, like, and I can hear like in her. I can
just
see
like
her
this
inner
figure
monologue.
out of nowhere. I was like, and for like a brief second, I kind of forgot, and like I just see like this shadow moving on my
God, that's the
patio. And I'm like,
worst.
what's
Sorry.
happening? I'm like, oh, it's just the painters.
I thought your dishwasher was loose again.
Nah, I sent him out of the house today. I was like, go run your errands.
Dishwasher on the loose.
The dishwasher is on the loose.
Just that wayward dishwasher. I don't know what
Jesus.
to do about it.
Oh my God. They're like, Jaleeza got a lot of stuff going on at her house.
And it's always like Friday afternoon. Like I'm not home all week. Why they have to do it like on Fridays when I'm trying to do
They
something?
just trying to join the group chat. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like,
when is that? What's this
I heard
lady
y'all are
busy?
talking about Summer House.
They like forget. They fake washing whatever they need to wash.
Yeah, I know. They're like, actually, let me tell you my perspective of Carl.
Right.
I wish they
I
would.
actually disagree, and I'll tell you this. I'm like, okay, we need all perspectives.
Let
Thank
me
you.
tell you why Jesse is right. I'd be like, absolutely not. Get out of here.
I would let me just tell you this. I wouldn't be able. I would not if I was like. Well, I do this when I serve tables. Like, if somebody is having a good conversation that I know a lot about, I do be interjecting sometimes. Like, not all the time. I'm like, actually, White Lotus. Like, somebody was having a conversation about White Lotus. I was like, I have some things to say about that, actually. And I feel the vibe out. I'm like, I feel like they'll be okay with it. But you know, it is hard not to, like, when it's a really interesting topic. So if you're listening, come through. But so yeah, Jesse visits Lexi in her room, and she's clearly pissed, and he knows it, and good. And she's giving him nothing. She's not really ready to talk about it because I think she's really trying to think about what she wants to say, because she wants, again, I think she's a really good communicator.
Emotional, mature.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah, I think she's really trying before she does this. She really wants to like get her thoughts together, and I appreciate that. So then Jesse pouts away, and then immediately goes to Wes and says, Lexi is mad at me. Like, I don't know why, but she's clearly mad at me. And then, of course, Wes like, I got to save my friend. And he goes and investigates and joins Paige and Amanda on this big, amazing bed that they have had built outside for Snooze Fest. And he crawls into bed with them and says, hey, he just cuts to the chase, which I appreciate. Like, he's just like, I'm literally here to get the scoop, to get the tea. Are you going to give it to me? Will you provide the information? And everybody is all in agreement, like, let's dish. So he says to Paige and Amanda, like, why is Lexi mad at Jesse? And I was happy that Amanda was like, I'm going to take ownership. It's because of me. I did it. Mm-hmm. I told her about the yellow flags. And before she can even finish saying that, Wes is already about to go to Jesse's defense and saying, but yeah, like she's so, and then she cuts him off and says, no, I got more context. And he says, do tell. And so she essentially, recaps what we all just had witnessed, and wheels begin to turn for Wes. He said, he's like looking over at Jesse while she's like saying saying the whole conversation. It's like, actually, now that you mention it, he's the one who was like, I'm going to call you right back. And we had barely even pulled out of the driveway. Now that you mention it, like, and then he was like, oh no. And they realized that Jesse is underplaying his part in this. Like, and I was happy that they came to that conclusion. I was like,
yeah.
I was so happy. Like, I also want to know how Wes is going to feel once, because I don't think he knows that he was used in the narrative the weekend prior.
No, I don't think so. Because Jesse never took that to Wes. Like, he used it against Lexi. But again, like, if he was really concerned about it, he would have had a conversation with Wes about it. Like, he just used Wes as a pawn.
Right.
Okay. I can't. I know they filmed the reunion yesterday. I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't heard any spoilers or any leaks, anything like that. But I am curious if, I don't think, because like the boys, like, and this happens on, that's what I'm saying, on Vanderpump Rules, like they have done so many, and I know it's not like everybody's different and whatever, but like these boys do such bad stuff that when they do bad stuff to each other, they let it go. So because they need each other when they inevitably do another bad thing for protection. So they let a lot of shit go, a lot of backstabbing. I feel like the only reason they're not letting this backstabbing with Emerald go is because Emerald just like, I don't think he subscribes.
He's not part of the boys club.
He's not part of the boys club, nor does he like, it doesn't seem like he's like interested in like, I actually think he's so not toxic that it pisses them off.
But I don't even think it pisses, I think it's really just Jesse that's pissed at Emerald. I think
no, because Carl said something too.
What did Carl say?
He said, I can't remember if it was like on Watch What Happens Live or it was in one of the confessionals, but when we find out that Emerald's the one who spilled the beans, he was like prompted, or he was asked, like, would you have done that? Or do you think that like was breaking guy code or something like that? And he was like, honestly, I would have covered for him. And like, kind of like, yeah, like essentially kind of like he's like, I get it. It happened. But if I would never have done that. I wouldn't have like told on him essentially. So I feel like, and again, that goes back to like, yes, Carl has changed in a lot of ways, but ultimately they will always cover for each other. That's a part of their toxic trait. And I don't think that they like the fact that Emerald is not necessarily a person that's going to just do that. So I think that that's also one of the reasons why they were so, again, to me, like last week, like I said, they threw him under the bus real fast with Sierra.
Well, I mean, they would have threw any girl who would have went out and went off on him. They would have did the same thing because they're like, it's not my drama, like you were pointing out. So like we've all been there. Mm-hmm. So now he has to take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But wait, so where were we? So
Wes getting the tea.
Oh, yeah. So,
and his wheel's starting to turn.
Yeah, the wheel's starting to turn. So I'm glad, like, now, like, essentially the whole house is now caught up, which I like. Well, for the most part, like, I don't think Carl knows anything. Because, by the way, I meant to point this out. They've sprinkled throughout this whole episode, this whole, like,
yuck.
You already know what I'm about to say. So,
yes.
Carl has already been, like, dropping hints about this all season, but it's really starting to, like, gear up this episode. And I meant to bring this up earlier, but essentially every time Carl tries to bring up to the house that he has a crush on Sierra, everyone just shuts him down and acts as if he didn't say anything. Like they did that several times in the episode, and it made me laugh every fucking time. They did it at the boys' night when they asked Carl, like, how was your write up with Sierra and Montauk? And again, like I said earlier, Jesse only says something like that so he can then pivot the conversation to what he wants to talk about, and he only asked Carl that so he could then later tell them about how he strong-armed Sierra and how she's being mean to him now. And so when Carl is like, it was great, and then says that weird acronym about like, she gave me a handy.
No, that was Jesse, or someone said, "Did you get a?"
Oh, that was that's what he. Yeah. It was Jesse. Okay. I feel like
and then Carl was just like, "No, we just caught up."
Oh, I thought Carl said that. Okay, that makes more sense.
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, interesting. Okay, but yeah, and then I thought he said, "Just kidding." Okay, so it was Wes that said that. But then Carl says, "But she's so beautiful," and then he's like about to like
do my face like this because I'm like.
And the funny thing is, like, he's been trying to tell everybody this. It's like been almost like a bit. He's been trying so hard to confide his like love or like crush on Sierra to everybody, and every time he's about to do it, someone cuts him off. Every time, even Sierra. Like when he came into the house, he tried to be flirty with Sierra, and she even cuts him off. Like she's like, no one is letting him do and flirt and be like what he's trying to do. So Jesse then turns that conversation about Sierra. But going back to that, like the reason why I kind of like for Carl has not been present for any of the conversation is because at some point, like he's like pulls Sierra aside and starts like chatting with her about like, so like, have you been seeing anybody? Have you seen anybody
to the party?
And he's the summer. And I was like,
Jesus.
I literally wrote down, God, please make this stop. Because
Yes.
I know Sierra is not interested in Carl. And
No.
it's going to be so hard to watch if he continues to try to do this and actually forces her to be like, they're there.
You're my brother.
We're just friends.
No, she's got to take it to we're like siblings.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Just so he can
like the whole, like, you know how like Lexi kept on
like a
saying like
brother.
Sierra and Jesse are siblings? No,
Yes.
that's Sierra and Carl. Okay?
Yes.
That's Sierra
And
and
he's
Carl.
just not seeing it. I don't understand.
And
but it goes back to your point that you had said, I don't know which episode, that Carl needs this strong emotional support. Like he's always had it, like with the women friendships, like where it goes back to the twins, Danielle, Lindsay, and now he sees Paige. Now he didn't really lean on Paige for emotional support because he only talked to her in the house. And, like in the pantry. Sorry.
And they weren't talking in the pantry.
Yes. And so it's like, and he needs that. And now that he doesn't have Lindsay anymore, so he's like, he sees it in Sierra. And it's like, it's almost like, does he even really like her? Or he's like, I need to replace that. And it's like, she's beautiful. She'll do.
Well, it's like he doesn't understand the difference between like a woman trying to be his friend and support him and like romantic feelings. He sees to get those.
Yes.
He's like, oh, she supported me. And so then he mixes up what the feeling really is and the motive behind it.
Yeah. And it's that I don't think that he really wants to date Sierra, not because she's not, like, obviously she's beautiful. We've talked about how she has such an amazing personality because she has so many different qualities. She's smart. She's interesting. She's a very interesting person. But everything that he's describing about Sierra seems like something that he needs, like that, like out of like what you would need out of a therapist, not like out of a romantic partner.
Yeah.
But he's always when he talks about Sierra, he talks about how she makes him feel.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, but what exactly about Sierra do you like outside of her looks and how she makes you feel? And he can't, like, those questions aren't being asked to him. And he just, to your point, Jaleeza, just doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
And he needs to figure that out.
Yeah. And
also, you're not what she's looking for. If you actually spoke to her outside of just trauma dumping on her, you would understand that you're not what she's looking for.
At all.
Well, and he doesn't consider that part. Again, it's all about how she makes him feel. It has nothing to do with like what he could bring to her life or like what she's looking for.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that Carl needs to really take the time to heal and really, like, again, like to your point, Shirla, like he's a newish sober person. And so he has to like navigate this world with a new lens that he's put himself in. And like, I don't think he's grasped it yet. He hasn't done it, but he hasn't done it by himself yet.
No,
and I think he needs
doesn't
to,
want to though. I feel like he keeps like the same thing with soft bar. Like he needs to be busy so he doesn't sit in his feelings, and that could be an issue with like being newly sober. If he sits in his feelings, then bad thoughts could come into his head. But that's what you need to talk to your therapist about. If I'm not busy, if I don't have a partner, or if I don't have Lindsay, how do I, fill that void and it not being alcohol? So he just needs to figure that out, that like Sierra can't fix that void.
He's like kind of making these women into his drug of choice.
Yeah.
And that's also not healthy.
Going to be an addict.
And then it becomes just like drugs. To a certain point, it becomes, if you're overdoing it and abusing it, it becomes toxic for you, i.e. his relationship with Lindsay. And I'm sorry, like at a certain point, if he's not really going in with good intentions, I wouldn't say good intentions, like if this isn't like just a genuine like connection and it's rooted in a necessity he needs from Sierra, that will also turn into toxicity at some point.
Yeah. Because he's also still, like, even though this happened so early in the season, even after the season, he keeps, like, bringing up, like insinuating, like, oh, I'm so interested in Sierra. So I'm like, I really hope she was able to shut this down or people around her were able to shut this down because to your point, he will then find a way to like blame her or just like be irritated by her because she is not she's not like, it's not like she's not rejecting him, but she is in a way kind of rejecting him, but like, why aren't you being with me? Like it's your fault somehow. So like,
And Sierra, I don't believe that Sierra has any interest in being with Carl.
No.
Not to say, and anybody who's going to be like, that's not true. She had interest in Carl at one point, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But not
and
today.
being good looking. She just like commented how good looking he is.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I know people are
good looking and not want to date them.
Well, the thing is, there was one moment where it was like when it was actually right when
they had a little flirtation. Like they had a flirtation,
and they made out once. Yeah, they made out once. And I remember it was like when I think she thought for like a split second that she was like into Carl. And then, but that was when Carl was like really into Lindsay and like he wasn't really paying her as much attention. And I don't know if
what it was because he wasn't paying any attention to her. So then she was like,
I also agree with that. But I think that sometimes he goes back to that, like when he keeps talking about that, I think he goes back to that time when she was kind of seemingly a little interested. So he's like, you know, if I hadn't gone with Lindsay, maybe I could have really explored something with Sierra, and maybe I should have gone
with situation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a really great point. So, but again, to your point, like we've said, Sierra has a thing about wanting men who are unavailable. And that, and I half of the time, I don't think she actually likes these men. She likes the chase. She loves the chase.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there.
That's not even a criticism of Sierra, like really, because I know I have definitely done that myself. I think that's in human nature a lot. Sometimes we want what we can't have. It's not unusual. But Carl is taking something, a moment in time from a long time ago and now making it his whole personality and about to embarrass himself. And I hope because I once we were like really started talking about this, I really hope that she does find a way to make it very clear to Carl because Sierra, you are getting like a lot of defense, which I'm like, good for you, especially being a Black woman, for the amount of people that are out here defending you. A part of me is like, as much as I disagree with people, a part of me is out here happy for you because like it's so refreshing to see people that are not just Black defending you to the death. So even though I think they're dead wrong, I'm not really mad about it because I'm like, good for you, girl. A little bit. Like I can't help it be like, you know, good for you. But let me tell you, your friend Paige knows this. If you mess with the wrong Bravo man, they will turn on you. And Carl is so beloved.
Yeah.
Do not even entertain that if you're not serious, because if he turns on you and blames you for anything, leading him on or whatever, they will turn on you. I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
You're right. Carl is one of them. Carl and Craig.
You could sit here and think, and she might think she's exempt because there are a lot of people out here defending her in this whole Jesse Lexi situation. That's much easier to defend because no one knows Lexi and Jesse is fairly new. Carl is a staple. He has done so many horrible things, and he comes back. He's like Schwartz. Like we've seen them do terrible things, and they get defended. The women usually get ridiculed. Same thing happened with Craig, and Paige is paying dearly for it. Where she was at least in the beginning getting a lot of heat. So, girl, if you don't think that they will turn on you, if you break and again, like we said, they are painting Carl into this like little baby that doesn't know how to do anything. They will turn on you. Please don't even entertain that.
Don't.
For your sake, please.
Yeah.
And maybe she does reject him, but like I don't think he received it because he's still again on that Watch What Happens Live, just like. It's like, feels like, I think there's a chance. I'm just like, what are you?
And the thing is, she could have rejected him, but and like he doesn't receive it because I feel like she probably did it in a really, really kind way. But my whole thing is because it doesn't seem like he's received it and he still thinks that there's a hope. I hope that she doesn't have to because we know how she gets. She can get mean, a la Luke when you don't get the hint. She doesn't like when people don't get the hint. She might have more patience for Carl, but if it gets to a point and then she has to be like a little bit more venomous about it, they will turn on you. So I'm warning you, girl. Be careful about that.
That poor
Proceed with
man.
caution.
Luke went through the ringer, child.
Luke got so much heat that he didn't necessarily deserve.
I agree.
At all.
Unpopular opinion, but I really don't see what did he do wrong?
Nothing.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure in what
Compared to some of these Bravo men that we continue to forgive over and over and over again when they do things that we literally watch. Like, sure, was Luke awkward? Did he make some missteps with some of the girls? Sure. But like, yeah, the fact that he got painted so much like a villain when we're watching these guys just act like complete fools, and then it's like, oh, but they're just a baby. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
I think Luke's looks, unfortunately, did not help him.
No.
The fact that he was so attractive and everyone just kept being like, he must be a fuckboy. He has to be. Whereas the other men are like, they were always the dorky ones and never just like Luke was the actual cool kid. And so like they just assumed he was bad. And that was just like, he just never got the benefit of the doubt.
Honestly, I think Sierra made a misstep with Luke because honestly,
Luke is
because
gem.
The thing is, out of anybody we've seen Sierra date in the Bravo universe, Luke was the most compatible for her. He does all of the things she's interested in.
He's
all of the
intentional.
things. He's
literally intentional.
Literally, and I get one of the reasons, because unfortunately we didn't get to see their initial relationship. And I think he did do, the thing is, I don't think that Luke is perfect. Like what she described, essentially that he kind of I think he at one point ghosted her. But is that I think that's definitely a yellow to red flag, but it doesn't necessarily in context. I think that dating, to me, I hate dating. Dating is really the worst because when you're in that phase, it's when you're in that phase, it's such a uneasy, unsure, and anything can change. One minute you think you're having a really good time with somebody, and then all of a sudden something happens during the week and it's something different. And so when you're in the dating phase and it's just dating, not whatever Lexi and Jesse are doing, where they're accelerating it and putting labels on things like exclusive and all that stuff. When you're just in the dating phase, I think that I feel like there's room for do-overs sometimes, depending. But I think that, again, Sierra, we said she's very stubborn and she didn't like the fact that he kind of rejected her. And then, but she does, I think she did like the fact that he came back around and she wanted to reject him on her own terms. And then, Hannah really inserted herself in that. So she never even got the opportunity to decide if she wanted to give it another chance, because Hannah really hijacked that whole situation.
Oh, for sure. And she also too, just it goes back to the communication. And again, these people are very lucky to be able to watch themselves on TV. And I feel like Sierra, and she could be thinking about this now, that at the time she didn't appreciate, she communicated, I'm sure, about the whole ghosting thing. She really, all she had to do was communicate to Luke about how that made her feel, and he would have changed his behavior. And the reason why I know this is because when she told him, I don't like you texting me at night, he changed his behavior. Yeah. So she I feel like at the time she didn't appreciate it, and now she's kind of going and learning her lesson through all these other men.
By the way, thank you for bringing that up. The whole, she was she had business hours and you could not text her past 9 p.m. Which I did judge. I'm not going to lie. But, because I was okay, she was making that into that was a crime, the crime of a century. Texting.
It wasn't a 3 a.m. you up text.
Yeah, it was. It was after 9 p.m. She was it was after 9 p.m. I had shut down the business. I had to put the close sign on the front door, and he could text me, and it was so crazy. I was the way she was making it seem was crazy. But at the end of the day, to me, at the end of the day, that was what? Her boundary.
Her boundary.
Yeah. And she's allowed to have them.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody be although I personally was that seems a little harsh. I don't feel like the way we tore her apart, the way we're tearing Lexi apart for not wanting to have sex with Jesse not in a committed relationship.
Correct.
And that's the
But
issue I
everybody-
have with Sierra. Sorry, I thought she was off the hook because she really didn't bother me this episode. But
I'm sorry for bringing that up. Sorry.
But that's what makes me so irritated with Sierra, because I see such parallels in the dating journey that her and Lexi have had on the show, and her not like even like reflecting on like the moments she's experienced and being like, I see the same things happening to you that happened to me. And like,
exactly.
Like, and again, you don't have to be best friends,
with Wes.
but it's just like to not even like put that together.
This is
She
what
just
we were
did this
saying.
last season.
True.
Like, she told Wes, like, we're not having sex unless it's something serious. Like, she had those same exact
Then
boundaries.
he introduced her to the parents, and then they did what?
Exactly.
It's like,
But this is what we
come on.
mean by
memory
when people keep being like, and I'm just like, are some of these Bravo audiences like just not good people? Like, you don't have to be best friends with Lexi to call something out or see what's happening and be like, you know what? I don't even want to be a part of this mess. I want to remove myself from the situation. Yes, Sierra is single. Yes, she can flirt with whomever she wants to flirt with. But as a woman, when you know that somebody else likes somebody, you just want to be like, okay, I'm going to be a little bit aware of that. And like, I don't even want to put myself in that situation to be viewed, to be paired up with Jesse. That's all we're trying to do is call out Sierra's behavior, being like, she has a part to play in this, and she can just
does.
remove herself.
And the thing is, yeah, all of what you say, I completely agree with everything you're saying. And but the fact that when these things are brought up, or like, it's just like the like blatant ignoring the similarities for me, and then acting like Lexi is just like crazy for feeling the way she's feeling, knowing that we watched you feel the same exact way and supported you for it.
Yeah.
It's that I can't get with. And then the fact, like, we can all say that, look at Sierra standing her ground. She can hold Jesse accountable, but she only held Jesse accountable when she was embarrassed.
Exactly.
And I could also easily, I get it. Again, I got it when she did it with Wes. I get it when she's doing it currently with Jesse. But I could play devil's advocate and say all he said was just don't touch me, which is his boundary. And now you're acting like entitled in all this other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I can easily spin it. I could easily spin it.
I also just like hate the people who like are defending, you know, Sierra's actions by saying like, oh, but why aren't you guys, you know, blaming the man? And it's like,
I am.
we're doing both. Like, I don't know how many times we have to say this, that Jesse is ridiculous and this is all his fault. But also too, like, you guys have we can call out somebody's behavior.
Also, because I do like Sierra, and I people will be like, okay, guys, we on episode 11, and it don't seem like you do. It don't.
We don't like certain actions.
It doesn't seem so. But it's the problem is I think I like her so much that it just bugs me that she does these things, and and it's the same way I feel like I felt with Paige in the past, where I got frustrated with her with being so venomous with Lindsay, when I'm like, you're also participating, you're an active participator in how these arguments go. Like the way you like in that one season when they had to like do impressions of each other and just was so nasty to Lindsay. And she had to do an impression of Lindsay. It's like, I wasn't making that up. That is you. And like, you know, all this other stuff. But it's like this season, I haven't had as much criticism because I feel like Paige has acknowledged some of it, and also has grown. And the problem is, I just year after year I have not seen Sierra grow, and it frustrates me because she has such potential. Because I see moments with her and Paige. It's like Amanda's a lost cause, and I just don't give a fuck about Amanda at this point.
Yeah.
But like Sierra, like I want her to be great. I do. And it frustrates me that she allows men to, I don't know, just like dim her light. I feel like she does dim her light a bit.
I mean, Amanda is a lost cause, but I also have seen a change in Amanda. And I think Paige and Amanda are both on this very similar, where they're just like, I'm just not going to let things get to me. And just like, you know, it is what it is. And it's almost like Amanda and Paige, outside of Paige and the Craig situation, but they feel like the audience. Now they're just like, I'm just going to watch things play out and just like not let it get to me. Whereas like Sierra's just not there yet. Like, it's just like, girl, sit back.
You know, to be fair, and I feel like maybe like, because not everybody is like me or you guys, where we not only watch the show, we watch the after show, we watch What Happens Live. We keep up with things that we see with them on social media. So I actually feel like a lot of my response comes not even from the show. And I think that's where a lot of the people who are like, why are we so like mad at like Sierra and Amanda? And I'm like, I'm not really even responding to a lot of what I'm seeing on the actual show. I'm responding to a lot of the things I'm seeing in the media. And
correct.
And so for me, I have such an opinion about Amanda this season based off of just her media like presence after the show. And that's throwing me. It's throwing me.
It just doesn't make sense. It's not aligning. Well, I think also what you're saying too is like her media tour or whatever presence is not aligning with what we're seeing on the show.
Right. Like that
So
if it was
like
just the show, like I don't think that like my opinion about her makes like actually my opinion doesn't I don't think really make as much sense if we're singularly just looking at the show. And what we see.
Only from a Sierra perspective.
Yeah.
It's still, because like even from this episode, like Sierra wasn't present in any of those conversations.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Thank you for that. Because I had to like, why do I feel this way? Because it's like, it's not always about the show, but I think that also it's an important thing to highlight because like, again, I'm assuming that people are like watching it like I watch it because I need to know everything. And some people don't do that at all. So I think that
it goes back to like what we talked about with Sinners. We are the type of people that when we see something, we do our research because we're like, something feels off. I need to understand more. And so like that's how we feel when watching the show. And when we watch the after show, we're like, I'm not understanding how she got from A to B. And so I need to figure it out.
We feel like there has to be something missing. We don't just like be like, whatever. Like we're sleuths. We're constantly trying to like understand exactly like put together the puzzle because it does feel like there's something missing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really Amanda who doesn't make sense. Or
Sierra.
Paige is the same in the after show, in the show, and she's consistent. Lindsay this is where I'm going here. Light bulb. Lindsay's consistent. Paige is consistent. Carl, not consistent. Kyle is actually consistent. Surprisingly.
Might not be my taste of consistency, but it is consistent.
Yes, but the rest of them, not. Sierra, literally, like, just not consistent. And so
Amanda, not consistent.
Not consistent. At all.
But yeah, so so where did we really leave off in the actual episode? Because we did talk about a lot of different things. Everybody's on the same page. So yeah, we're at the party. Like now, let's just jump. We're like at the party at this point.
Yeah.
And the conversation, like nobody seems to be partying. They seem to still be the conversations are still going. And really, the crux of it is the girls find out even more. So we got it. Like I guess now that I think about it, Lexi really gave them the scope of what was going on in 3 parts. We had like the little like interlude. She gave a little bit of the context, and then she really gave us the details. And that's when like she finally just like I feel like she this before she does that. Jesse ends up pulling her aside because he wants to enjoy the party, I guess, and he wants to just
because Lindsay was very good.
Yeah,
Lindsay was like, ask her.
Yeah,
because and that's why he pulls her to the side.
Yeah, because again, like what he does, he's like Lexi's mad at him. He knows that she won't tell him. He then goes outside pouting to the next person that will listen to him and affirm that he's a victim. And Lindsay's out here like, bitch, I'm a teddy bear, and
I'm pregnant. And I got these damn heels.
Like, I do not have time. Go stop messing. Just stop playing around and just go ask the girl. And he said, okay, I guess I will. He pulls Lexi aside. Lexi, honestly, I just don't know how much clearer this lady can get.
So good.
Like in this whole conversation, she was so crystal clear. It was no games. She said, this is what they told me. Why?
Why? But also, he was like, Lexi, are you mad at me? She said, yes.
Yes.
I'm almost pissed.
Yes, that was
She's
so good.
Canadian.
That was
She's
really
so
funny.
Canadian.
She was like,
Yes,
I'm one notch down from pissing. You're lucky.
Right.
You're catching me at the right level to
And
have
then
this
here comes
conversation.
Dorit. Microaggression. She said she's almost pissed. So she's an angry. She's an angry white
almost
woman.
pissed. And depending upon how this goes, I might get to that. And
that was so
and
good.
she and spoiler, she does.
She does.
Because
She's
it's
so
like
clear.
he's playing in her face. Like this is what I said. This is when he really pulls out every tactic in his bag. Every tactic that he has had to be able to manipulate her in this situation came to a boiling point in this conversation and was the pivotal moment that changes everything for what's going to obviously come ahead for these two. And so she gives him every opportunity to explain himself within this conversation. She literally, she thinks, Shirla, that's a very good point. Are you mad at me? Jesse says to Lexi. Hell yeah. But let's talk about it. And she says exactly what Amanda said to her. And I feel like she did it I feel like sometimes when you repeat a story from somebody, you kind of color it up or change it to fit your narrative. People do that all the time. I think she's really good at communicating, and I feel like she pretty much accurately retold what Amanda said to her. And this is when he starts saying things like, am I not allowed to talk to my friends? I didn't really say it like that. And then that's when I said that's when he just starts throwing everybody. He just starts throwing everybody under the bus in this conversation. He was like, who can I throw under the bus to get me out of this? He threw everybody under the bus. He threw people who weren't even there under the bus. Like Danielle got thrown under the bus. Carl Mama got thrown under. I'm kidding. But he would have tried it. And she's like, and she did a really, really good job of keeping him on course. Cause he was really trying to throw her for a loop in that conversation. And she kept up really well. She's like, okay, yeah, but that them telling me this information is because of you. Yeah. She's like, it's because of your actions. And she's like, I can't help how they respond to something that I'm saying. And she's like, yeah, but you're saying things that are not quite accurate because you do say this to me during the week. You do these things, but then you're saying this back to them. So their feelings are also valid because of what you're saying to them.
I'm glad she said that.
Yeah. And then he's like, well, I guess I'm not allowed to talk to my friends. No, honey. I didn't say you're not allowed to talk to your friends. Why are you saying things that are not actually happening, though? That's what I'm trying to say. Why are you telling your friends one thing and then telling me something else? And she is specific when she says these things. She's giving him examples. And he's, not refuting any of them. That's important because it's all it's telling me is her version is correct and accurate because at no point does he says, I never said that. You're misinterpreting it. He doesn't say any of these things because he can't say any of these things because she's telling the truth in these things. All he can do is try to rework things and shift blame. And she's not letting him do that. She's refusing to. Then he goes with tactics of emotional manipulation, which has worked on her a little bit in the past, but without context by, and also when isolated and not being able to share information with everybody. And this now she's she's fully armed with information. And he starts saying I thought this weekend was going to go a lot different. I was thinking that we were going to leave this weekend being, I don't know, actually boyfriend and girlfriend. And there it is. He's dangling something in front of her like he did with the exclusivity when Toegate happened, thinking that will make her soften because it kind of worked in the past. But again, he was lying to her while doing that. So now she has all the information and she's like, no. Fool me once, not happening again. And also, I'm not again she's backing up what she's saying to the lady, saying, don't care about being in a fucking relationship that bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad she said that to him not confessional. In his face, she says, I'm not desperate to be in a relationship to not be able to tell you how I'm feeling. And if that means we don't be in a relationship, so fucking be it.
Ugh, love that she said
She's like, we can slow it down. When he's like, it is moving about. She's like, then let's slow it down.
Yeah, because I was moving on your pace.
Yeah, you're the one who's love bombing me. Okay, let's take it down a notch because you're doing too much.
But this is why we were saying, like, in the beginning, we're like, what we can appreciate about Lexi, which is like, I feel like everybody's, again, trying to poke holes in her story because of like what they've been seeing on television. But like, she is consistent. When we watched her in real time relay what the girls are saying and then also hold him accountable to his face while not throwing the girls or blaming the girls. So like, why would she then switch up after the show? Like, she's very consistent in the things that she's saying. And honestly, we just trust her at this point. And I applaud her. We're not babying her. She can stand up for herself.
And
she's very logical in it.
She
she's not getting all her emotions in it. She's just being very logical and like, this is what I was told. This is what I've heard versus what you're telling me. Like, Jesse's the one getting riled up. He's taking a much more emotional stance and trying to play on her emotions. And you could tell it was frustrating him how
big
much
time.
It was not working. Kind of like Paige and Emerald or Sierra and Emerald.
Yes.
Like, he was expecting one kind of reaction out of her.
Yes.
And she was not getting it. And you could just see in his head, like him going through the catalog. Okay, well, let me try this.
Yes.
Well, let me try this.
Yes.
Let me go with this route, trying to get her to act the way he wanted her to.
He tried every trick in the book, and she just really wasn't having it. She was like, this is a conversation we're having now. And it's even kind of similar to like how Paige was having a conversation with Craig a few episodes back, and saying like, you know, like what she wants out of life and all these things. And like Craig just like, you know, like dancing around it and using different tactics. It's like, I'm trying to have a real conversation because like, you're saying this to me now, but like when we're like behind closed, like this is not what you're like, the energy isn't matching. And I'm just trying to actually like have a real conversation. And these men are so used to being able to like act one way and manipulate it a different way on camera. When they get called out, they get so fucking frustrated. And like, we're not doing that anymore. We're what I'm really loving about the women, so far, especially, Paige and, Lexi, is that they are not doing like falling into the normal tropes that we're used to and just in the moment in real time, just calling it the fuck out.
Well, like, also, I'm going to give credit to Lindsay because Lindsay did the same thing last year with Carl.
Yes.
Because Carl was also, he had moments like their fight in the kitchen where he tried to play on like, okay, I can use Lindsay's temper against her. And she just was not feeding into it and he was going nuts. And so like, you know, it again is back to like Paige being like, I was raised by Lindsay. And I feel like Paige also watched that episode and she's doing the same thing that, you know, that Lindsay did with Carl. She's doing it with Craig. Like, this is what you need to do when you're not, they're trying to play on your emotions.
Exactly.
So
give them nothing.
Give them nothing. So it's refreshing to see Lexi doing it. And I don't know if she watched the show or not, but this just seems like it's in her personality where she's like, oh, you can't fool me. I know what you're doing.
And that's a good point, to be able to do that in real time without reflecting back on it, which is why I think she did want to take the time to think about everything when Jesse had initially approached her in her bedroom, because she really wanted to gather her thoughts and thoughtfully and intentionally have a discussion with him when she like really thought about it. And again, I think he's used to fooling around with people that are not as emotionally equipped or mature. And he fucked around and found the fuck out. And within the conversation, she was just very clear, like, listen, I'm okay with stopping what we're doing if you're not serious. Because like at this point, like, I am not desperate for this. I like you, but not if you're going to be like behaving like this. If people are literally like making a point, which I get, that I should not be with somebody who wants to act single when I am not there. Also make it seem like I'm the one who wants this, but telling me all these other things in private. I'm not interested. So you figure your shit out and get back to me. And then we have the peanut gallery watching from a distance, which we have like a kind of like in between them, Lexi laying it out to this man and him trying to gaslight her and it not working. We have like really great moments with Paige and Lindsay. And Lindsay actually pulls during this whole thing that's happening in the distance, Paige aside, because she realized that there has been something going on with Paige. I'm loving that they're keeping these small moments that don't need to be kept in there necessarily, but it shows that the growth and the genuine growth within Paige and Lindsay's relationship, because she noticed that something was off with Paige, like something it has, like last weekend there was something different about her, and she asked Paige that, and Paige, like briefly like yeah, like what's going on, and then Paige reciprocates and is like, what's going on with you, Lindsay? Like it's like a two-way street. They both genuinely care about each other, but then they're also like, but we also care about this tea. What do you think is going on over there? And I love that too, because it's like, girl, you good? Girl, you good? But also, are they good? Like, and
come on, everybody, let's all get together and talk about it.
Yeah,
just like at the softball game, they understand. Like again, I feel like I keep pointing out that it's we need to understand who are the people that are there. Like when Lindsay or Paige are not involved, all of a sudden they don't get Lexi's side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are able to get Lexi's side of the story because Lindsay and Paige,
and Gabby
did it at the softball, and Gabby, they did it at the softball game first. And then this leads to Amanda then bringing something up at this party, and then them all gathering and getting the real tea on the fight.
So then it cuts back to the end of Lexi letting him know this is what it is. Like she always has been saying, like, my boundary, my boundary, my boundary. Like, bitch, this is what it is. I'm laying it out plain as day. Like, there's no fine print. This is what it is. So I'm not trying to like put any like, I don't know how much clearer this bitch can be. But they are like, very clear. And so they're like, it's so funny because they're like, ooh, like this doesn't seem like it's going well, because they both end up walking in different directions. And so they take that opportunity to be like, Lexi, come over here. And to your point, they want to know what's going on. They want to investigate it further. Let's see how that conversation went. And I'm glad they did that. And then, of course, Jesse immediately goes to his default, which is Wes, to like boohoo about like Lexi, and then also lie. But we'll get to that. And so then Lexi eventually, like within this conversation with Paige and Lindsay, let them in on something that I think is very important, and that showed Jesse's character that we get to see and that they haven't even gotten to see. So I can't wait to find out what they think about Jesse doing this, where he tries to say that Lexi was flirting with Wes, or Wes was flirting with Lexi, or vice versa. And that was just as bad as what he did with Toegate. And they were floored.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Floored. Like, they were like Paige, especially Paige, she was like, I was there. Like, I know how he was being with Sierra. I know how Toegate went. Like, no. Like, in no way to have, like, and if that was like a thing, like I said, like, I didn't even need to footage in the club, they would have all been like, that makes a little sense. Like, I have seen Lexi be flirty with Wes or vice versa. Like, and they were also at the club too. So they could have been like, I did see that. And nobody is saying that. So there is no footage. It did not happen. No one could recollect. He didn't even bother to tell Wes, because that didn't happen. It didn't fucking happen. And I was really happy that she told them that, because again, that gives them a perspective that Jesse is not a reliable source. He is not trustworthy. It just further lets them in on that he is a deceptive human being. Here goes like fucking Jesse telling Wes a not accurate version of what happened between him and Lexi, and making it seem, did you feel this way? Because I felt like he was making it seem like, because she was being so upset within that conversation, like he had every intentions on like asking her to be his girlfriend. But now that the conversation went that way, I'm not going to be doing that. As if that she didn't pretty much say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he was going for. Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'll be damned.
It's like that, like, you're fired. No, I quit.
Yeah.
Situation, like, yeah, and she seemed okay with not being your girlfriend yet, based on all these red and yellow flags you have, sir. But it's also kind of like Craig in the ring and being like, oh, I wish you would have waited until after you saw the ring. He just like was trying to dangle that carrot in front of her face to just like calm the situation. But yeah, he's totally twisted it when he's gone to Wes. Like every other thing he's said to her, every conversation him and Lexi have had.
This is why, again, when we keep being like, I don't understand, these people are not being consistent. Whereas like, you guys experienced this in the summer, and you're still just being like, you're almost like validating him and like his poor behavior by like still being, you could be friends with him, but like, you're not calling him out. Like, I just like in the aftermath, I'm like, how are you not grossed out by what you're seeing on camera? Especially when he says the part of like, my friends are just talking shit behind my back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He threw y'all under the bus too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything to say about that?
Hard. They're like, he says essentially that he says the late, like, yeah. And
he
granted,
sent it to West.
And granted, this part just aired, so I don't know like how advanced I don't think that they get all of the screeners or whatever. So like I think that they kind of give it to them like maybe a week or two in advance, and then like when they do the reunion, I think they may give them the whole season, and they have to like binge it. So when the after show that Amanda did film, I will just I can reasonably assume that she hadn't seen that part where he essentially blames them for meddling and purposely trying to sabotage the relationship. I am a reasonable human, and I will say I feel like she
but this is why it gets confusing. It's like, okay, again, this goes back to our like investigation. What?
Why are you making that face, Pia?
Okay, it's I thought it didn't.
It uploaded.
Yeah, I was like, like did it like just delete all that? I was like, oh my God.
They would have found it anyway.
Rub the tab.
But this goes back to like us investigating. It's like, one, I need to know, did they stop filming the after show or are they just like, they cut it? Because it's like, now I want to understand, like I need that footage of like them talking, the girls talking through this episode.
Yeah.
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 Because I want to know. And the thing is like, you can't save everything for the reunion because they don't talk about everything.
Yeah.
I need to, like, that's why the after shows are so good, because then we can get in real time, like not in real time, but like understand their mindset at that time and reacting to certain things that are happening, because you can't get through everything at the reunion. So I'm like, I want to know what Amanda thought when she heard that.
Yeah. I just think that either we're doing after shows or we're not. And it's fine if we're not, but you can't start and stop. That's going to irritate me.
Yeah. And with certain shows, like you can't be like, all the other shows have it and this one not, which makes me believe that you guys are hiding things. And I don't like that.
I mean, I feel like that's a fair fucking assessment. It is.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But I mean,
and if you're gonna hide that shit, Andy better ask Amanda, how did you feel when you heard Jesse blame you guys for Lexi being mad?
Yeah,
I need that question be asked.
I actually have hope that Andy will actually ask some of these questions that we want, only because he has no loyalty to Jesse, and I haven't really seen any like. Because, like, you know, like, you can tell when Andy, like, really likes somebody. And it's not that he doesn't like Jesse. But, like, if he really likes somebody, I already know he's not going to go as hard on them. And I actually feel like he really likes Lexi, more so because of the people that she's dated and finds her very fascinating. So, therefore, gives me hope that he actually, out of just his curiosity and not needing to feel like he's protecting Jesse, he will ask those questions.
I hope so.
That's my assessment of how I feel like what Andy's going to do at a reunion.
I do think it depends on the stake of the show, because like in terms of like if they see Lexi as forgettable and she could not be there for next season, they want to protect their investment, which would be Jesse.
I just think that Jesse is so early on the stages, and to me, I feel like Lexi has like packed in 2 seasons worth to match Jesse's importance level. You know what I mean? Whereas I do think that we're not going to get as much out of the Sierra portion of it, because I feel like
I agree.
So I think that we're going to be left dissatisfied overall.
Yes.
But
I've only seen one
think
thing.
We'll get some stuff.
I saw a picture that was posted with all the boys and Andy minus Emerald. After the reunion. And they also showed the seating chart.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
that's drop, and it's
that's
just poor.
So, okay, let's just wrap up this. That was what happened. Roll credits.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
We'll pick up next week where we find Lexi, where I feel like we're finally getting to Lexi and Jesse blowing up at each other. I think we're fine. Like, again, I think it's going to be a 2-parter, but I feel like the next episode is going to start it off. Roll credits.
Where and I love that she's going to call him out in the kitchen in front of people.
Exactly. That damn kitchen has seen a lot. And then
it's like the back alley of
Sir.
Yes,
of
Sir.
Yeah, you're so right. That is literally the equivalent. And then also we
Mhm.
get a preview for the fact that I really was hoping that Carl would let this go and just like take the
Oh,
hint that
Lord.
nobody wants him to do this. He's going to tell Sierra. I'm sorry.
I have to
Every
tell her.
time I try to even pretend like this is serious, I cannot even get it out. He's going to tell Sierra he has a crush on her, and I already like. Can you? Oh my God! You don't think she knows? She just was hoping.
aware.
She knows you have a crush on her. She just hoped I didn't say anything because she didn't want to have to tell you. God damn it,
I
Carl.
think it's going to be funny because it's going to be like literally like you said, this is a bit. And watch like the balloons fall down like right before she has to tell him no, or somebody starts screaming because he has to
Something
keep
will happen and she won't have to say it. Like, yeah, she'll
Yes.
just be like, oh,
It's literally a
I
bit.
gotta go.
Ain't nothing more awkward than I'm sure we've all been there than like having to let someone down that you don't want to hurt their feelings, and you're just hoping that they don't say anything, and having to because you're like, well, I'm not going to date you. Like, you're forcing my hand. I'm going to have to tell you,
like
but
that,
like, please don't.
that Snickers commercial where it's like awkward and
Yeah.
he's like, do you want a Snickers?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I could go.
I feel like Sierra's gonna start touching things like, I have to
I
go.
think she's
Like she's
gonna
like just
start
like
laughing.
yeah.
And there's just like, oh, Carl, I wonder what they're talking about. And just
Yeah, like she's like that's what I mean. She's gonna like like at some point, like she's not gonna be like, I don't think she's to like this, and this is why I think, to your point, Carl is gonna think, well, there's hope. It's like
Right.
any like
She didn't say no.
yeah, like she's gonna have to be like mean about it for him to like get it. Unfortunately.
He might like her even more if she's mean.
You know what? I actually don't think he would, because again, I'm sorry, but like at the end of the day, I don't think everything about Carl's personality from back in the day is all due to alcohol or recreational drugs. I think a part of him is just a toxic human that drugs and alcohol made 500 times worse. But by the way,
I agree with that.
that's even without that, I still think that he's like that. So I actually do think that, and we've seen him sober being venomous. Okay, like it's not like he's still capable of doing that. And I think the moment that like, if Sierra ever does this and makes him feel less than or whatever, he will switch on her. And he does it every so often, and I'm telling you, he's still capable of it because I've seen it.
Oh yeah, we saw it all last year. Like it's just like
the thing is,
and people like to ignore it because they don't like Lindsay,
and it's been there the whole time. And that's what it is. It's like they have willingly ignored it because they didn't like Lindsay. And I don't know, and I personally am unsure if they will continue to ignore it if it happens to Sierra, just because like I don't know, like misogyny runs ragged on these shows. It's just what it is.
I don't see them ignoring it. I feel like they're gonna be like, she did something to make him.
That's what I'm saying.
Mad.
That's what I'm saying. But that would be ignoring it. Like
It'll
his
become
behavior.
her fault.
Yeah, it's like instead of being like, well, wow, that was really mean. Like all she did was just say like, I don't want to be with you, like whatever. They'd be like, well, why was she leading him on? Why was she being such a support system? And like it's going to be all these things of why she made him feel that way. And even though it's like can't she? That's just called being a friend. I don't know. Whatever. I hope it doesn't go there for her.
Can she just like not like him?
Yeah, like why wouldn't you like him? Like he's such a catch.
It's literally like the Craig and Paige thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why you don't want him, Paige. You think you're better than him? Like it's so weird.
Yeah, they'll figure out a way to flip it to serve his narrative, but it's fine. We'll see. But to the floor chart of it all, like why in what world is Kyle and Amanda deserving to first chair?
They're always first chair. It's so annoying.
It's so frustrating. Like, why is Jesse and Lexi the person that we've talked about every single the thing that this whole season is like building up towards so far down the damn couch? Like that's crazy to me. Like Sierra is at it's a Sierra Paige. Paige is Cynic Sandy.
Paige is first chair.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's Paige and Amanda. Yeah.
Like,
and then
but somebody made a good point that we've got to stop looking at the secondary shows like Housewives. Like it's just, we always view it as like, oh, who has the most drama sits up front. But it's the same thing with the Southern Charm cast. They always have the two men in the first chairs.
But the thing is, but I would argue that it should, like, if we're at a reunion to talk about things, they should be putting people in order of who has the most to hash out. Because what ends up happening is you're putting Kyle and Amanda, who so far to our knowledge is not the main attraction of the season, in a position to kind of stifle us from getting to what we want to talk about, because they're in the middle of it interjecting when they could be down, like, you know what I mean? It makes it that much easier for them to chime in. And that's how I feel like that's why we don't get as much stuff resolved. Especially Kyle, you know, be a chimer in her.
I agree, but it's done on purpose, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, yes.
Like, it's not like the Housewives where it's like, you need to save your job, which like Paige was trying to do in old season, where it's just like, that's not the job of the secondary shows. Southern Charm, again, is the same example of like, they always have it's back to who started the show.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
more like seniority.
Exactly. And that's just how they shape it.
And
it's annoying.
I know, but the thing is, I get that, and that's the biggest criticism I think that we've had of the show. Like, they're protecting people, and the whole point of like, then don't have a reunion. Like, if we're not going to be able to like I don't like truly the people that need to be in the front, and it doesn't matter if you're a secondary show or what. Like, don't have a reunion then for those shows, because it's like, I'm trying to hash this out. Like, and I don't understand why you're like, then why are we all here? Why are we wasting our time? Like,
it's the same thing with Beverly Hills. Like, I would say Beverly Hills, out of all the Housewives, are very much like the secondary show. Like, Kyle will always be first chair and nothing gets resolved because everything has to your point, has to go through her, and she doesn't want to talk about it. Same thing with Kyle and Amanda. Nothing gets, even when they are the drama, we can never get anything resolved with them because they refuse to talk about their stuff during the reunion.
Yeah.
And it ends up being, that's why I have low expectations for them.
Well,
those reunions.
I'll fix it for them. This is my floor chart.
As you should.
Paige is right where she belongs because she had a lot of drama. Then it should be directly across from her who should be directly across from Paige? Who do you think? Wait, I need help. Who should be directly? Because I do think that Lexi and Jessie need to be closer, but I need to know who.
It would have to be Jessie. It can't.
Yeah, either Jessie but they could put one person there so that this way Jessie and Lexi could be second chair. I mean,
dare I say
Lexi and Jessie have to be on opposite sides because
that's what I'm saying. So you need someone else in first chair if you have Paige in the first chair.
But I dare say maybe
I would mind Lindsay. But
I actually
and then have Jessie and Lexi next to them.
I actually think because I'm going to change it. I actually think Jessie and Lexi should be first chair. This is my reasoning. They're both on the show. Paige's storyline revolves a lot around Craig, who's not on the show. So to me, her issue is secondary. It's important. It was a part of the show, but that to me bumps her to second chair. Still high up. Still high up.
I can see that.
So I feel like it should be Lexi, Jessie, Paige right behind Lexi. Then I think it should be I'm trying to think who should be it.
Who would you put across from Paige?
Sierra. I put.
Why would you put Sierra?
No, because
them
next. Oh yeah. You can't.
You would have to put like Carl. Well, Carl and Lindsay
I know
have their whole issue.
Carl and Sierra.
No, I actually want. Okay, I'm going to defend my Sierra. Because then she'd be sitting next to Jessie, and I would love for him to have to explain things next to her.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's why I'm doing that. That's my explanation. So wait, who would you put? Who were you saying should be behind Jessie?
I think I would do. I feel like I need to do the first two. Okay, I would do Jessie and Lexi, and then I would do Paige after Lexi, and then I would do probably Carl after Jessie.
Okay, so that means Carl and Paige are across from each other.
Yes.
Okay. I still want to defend my Sierra putting behind Jessie, but I'm gonna go with yours. So then after that,
no, I think we all need to have our own.
Okay. So okay. So what would you do?
So I mean, I would keep Jessie and Lexi, and then I mean, so we have Paige. Next is Lexi, and then
So hard.
I know it is.
No,
It's
I
fun,
do feel
though.
like Sierra should be next to Paige.
Mm.
Honestly, again, I might put Lindsay just because
You
I
gonna put
want
Lindsay?
her up front. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think like
So
she could
Lindsay
help move it
after
along.
Jesse?
Yeah, like Jesse and Lindsay, and
That's
then
how I was
Sierra.
thinking too. I was
What
like
did you
between
What did you
Lindsay
say
and
again,
Carl.
Shirla?
Lexi and Paige.
You said Carl?
I had the same thing, but just instead of Lindsay, I had Carl next to
Okay.
Jesse.
Okay. All right. So we've all built ours. So far I'm gonna run it down. So Lexi, for me it's Lexi, Jesse, then behind Lexi is Paige, and for me behind Jesse is Sierra. And then for you, Shirla, you are
I think we all have the same 3 people. The
And
only
then-
thing that we have different
We
is
just rearranged
next to
that
Jesse.
one seat next
So
to
you're
Jesse.
behind Jesse is Carl, and then Jaleeza behind Jesse is Lindsay. My next row of people will then I would actually have behind Paige is Lindsay, and then across is Carl for me. So Carl would be behind Sierra. So for me, Sierra is sandwiched in between Jesse and Carl.
I do kind of like that.
Yes. Oh, where am I now? Okay, but now I need a woman, so I would do Sierra after. So I actually have it the other way. I have Sierra on the other side with the boys, but she's not in between Carl and Jesse, like how you have it.
Uh-huh.
I just have Jesse, Carl, Sierra.
Okay.
And then on the other side, I would have Lexi, Paige. Oh, I gotta put a guy. I wanted to put Lindsay there, but I gotta put a guy. Who's left? Oh, Wes doesn't have.
You could put Wes.
I'll put Wes there.
Because that's Sierra and
He'll
Wes.
still be across from Sierra. Yes. Okay.
Jaleeza?
Yeah, okay. And then for me, so next to Paige, I'd put Sierra. Yeah, I guess she has to go there. And then next to Lindsay, well, part of me wants to be messy and put Carl, but I'm not going to do that. So I think I'd have to put Kyle there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, who was your two? So
I have Sierra and Kyle.
Okay. Back to me. Okay. My next person would be to break it up, because I feel like the way I've stacked it, there's a lot of drama, a lot of history. We need to mitigate it. I'm gonna go with next to Lindsay, West, because I like their dynamic, and I think that's fun, and also I feel like it will help with Lindsay having a good reunion to have an energy like that there. Across, which would be Carl, behind Carl, I'm gonna go with Gabby, because then why I'm gonna do that, because then Gabby is going when Carl starts to be on his bullshit, that would give her an opportunity to be like, you on your bullshit. And I'm trying to help her out, keep her job.
Okay. So on the Lexi row, I actually also have Lindsay and Wes by each other. So who's after Wes? I'm going to put Emerald.
Wait, did you Wes was last? You had Wes already up there?
Yes, because I had him next.
Oh, you're right.
Because I said there's too many women.
Yes, you did.
Sorry. I'm going to have Emerald. I'm going to put him in there this time, And then on the Jesse side, Jesse, Carl, Sierra, I'm going to have, who's left? I'm going to have Gabby, because they don't sit next to each other, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put there, across from Emerald.
Okay.
Your turn.
Okay. I'm trying to remember.
I know, it's so hard. It's easier to remember by sides. But the way Pia does it, she does.
I gotta go like in twos. Okay, so I have Lexi and Jesse, Paige and Lindsay, Kyle and Sierra.
Well, if you have Kyle, you have to put Amanda next to him.
I know.
You don't have to do a goddamn thing.
You're right. This is ours. Yeah, I'm tired of having Kyle and Amanda next to each other. Yuck. Break that shit.
I want to put in that row. I guess I'll put Emerald on Kyle's side. And
Kyle's side is on whose side? I'm sorry. Jesse or Lexi?
This is gonna be so much fun. I already see the vision of me editing this. This is so much fun.
I'm gonna say, okay, so Jesse and Lexi. Yeah, I would, and then I guess I'd have Paige on the jet. I don't know.
I don't even remember what you did last time, so
I know.
Don't ask me.
I'm like, because I had Paige and Lindsay, and then because I had Kyle next to Lindsay and Sierra next to Paige. So I guess I'd go Lexi, Lindsay, Kyle, Jesse, Paige, Sierra, just to balance out the genders. can't have all the girls on one side. And then after that, I would do Emerald next to Kyle, and I guess Carl next to Sierra.
Okay. All right. Where the fuck did I leave off? So many names happened. Now I think the only people I have left in the house is Emerald and Kyle and Amanda. So there's going to obviously be an odd person. It's not going to be exactly even. And because this is something that we are making our own. We don't have to subscribe to any rules since they don't apparently at Bravo. I don't have to. So I'm going to break up Kyle and Amanda for fun. Pure fun. And I'm going to have behind West, I'm going to have Emerald. And I'm doing that because I don't want Kyle next to a boy to be able to manipulate conversations. And Kyle's manipulative ass is going right next to Gabby because I'm having Gabby keep both Carl and, because she'll be sandwiched between Carl and Kyle, in check. And again, I'm giving her
work
because I'm trying
She
to
needs to go
help.
to work.
She needs to go to work, and I'm helping her.
Every opportunity.
I'm setting her up to win. So I can only do that so far. Then she has to take the reins in my made up world. And then after that, I am going to put Amanda next to Emerald because she honestly deserves to be the odd one out at the end because she don't make sense narratively. And because of those reasons, she's out for me and she needs to be on the outskirts because she don't make no type of sense. And when she wants to rejoin the group and tell me why she don't make sense from filming to the after show, she can then chime in because so she gonna be on the end. She's gonna be on the end. Mm-hmm. There you go. And I don't want her next to Kyle because he's a crutch. So I'm putting her on the end. So when she does get asked a question, she has to think on her own.
Now we got to figure out where I'm at. Carl, Sierra, Gabby, and then I guess I'll put Kyle. And then on the other side, it'd be Lexi, Paige. Did I say Wes?
Yeah, you said West.
Lexi, Paige. Yeah, because Wes was across from Sierra. Wes, Lindsay, Emerald, and then Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Right? Yeah, Kyle. Because I put Amanda on the other side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Done. Ugh.
So I have Jesse and Lexi, and then Lindsay and Paige, Kyle and Sierra, Emerald's next to Kyle, but Carl next to Sierra. Then who am I? Wes? Am I missing Wes, Amanda, and Gabby?
Damn.
Then put.
You meant that.
I think I put
sorry.
next to...
You did it. I'm so sorry to cut you off, Jaleeza. But Shirla...
I'll forget.
Shirla... Oh, sorry.
Exactly. I can see it in your head.
Go, do it. I'm sorry. Finish it.
Wait, where was I? Where was I? Hold on. And then, I'm going to put Gabby next to Emerald. And then Wes can go next to Carl. And then, Amanda's one of the ends.
Okay.
I don't really care.
She said she can be in the dressing room for all I care.
Bring out that seat like they've done before. Where it's like, here's a chair.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who's not going to be out there the whole time.
I think everybody's going to be out there the whole time.
Really?
I'm wondering if
a lot of people.
I'm wondering if they invite. I wonder if they invite Bailey at all.
Oh shit! No, she's not on the job. Oh. I feel like they're gonna make a joke and Bailey.
Yeah.
She doesn't come
I think that I do.
Exactly.
That was a lot. So you let us know. Do you like Bravo's seating chart, Pia's seating chart, Shirla's seating chart, or Jaleeza's seating chart, or none of the above? And if it's none of the above, you have to tell us what your seating chart would be. That's the rules. So let us know. Yeah. And with that, I literally said this was going to be a tight hour and 30, and we are literally 3 hours and 32 minutes in. To be fair, there are things that fire alarm happened, and I do think that I'm going to be able to cut around this, so I think it's going to be a good 2 hours and 30 minutes if once I get to chopping. Yeah, once I get to chopping it up, it's going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes. But one of these days, I'm going to get it down to an hour and 30. We'll see. But I definitely will speed up this part a little bit just because we were just in real time trying to figure it out. But I actually feel like we got to like a really fun seating chart. And I feel like any version of it besides Bravo's would be better. But maybe we're wrong. Room for being wrong. We haven't seen it. Maybe this was the best reunion ever.
I mean,
no,
we're rarely wrong.
We're not wrong.
This was a very long podcast, and I don't know if we'll ever know how long it truly is until I edit it, but it's long and whatever. But we did it. We made a floor chart. We recapped it. We talked about a lot of different things. I don't even remember. It's been a long journey. The journey was long.
It is.
But we will be back and rested for the next recap of Summer House episode 12. I don't know how many more. Again, I never looked these things up. But I think that we're getting towards the end, and then we'll get to this goddamn reunion and see what's up. But until then, don't forget to tell us what you think about our floor charts. Let us know what you think about our takes on the episode. Chime in, and you can do that on any of our socials. You can follow Shirla at Shirla Divine on Instagram, and her TikTok is also Shirla Divine, but just add a 007 to it. And then Jaleeza on her Instagram, which is Jaleeza LH. And then obviously me, Pia JV on TikTok and Instagram. And let us know what you think. And if you get us before Friday, which is when we record, we'll talk about it. But until then, bye.
Bye. Have fun. I'm out of here.
Oh my God. Did you make it? Are you still here? How many pauses did you have to take? Let me know in the comments how long it took you to get through this episode, because it's a long one. Or were you like, I'm a binger. I sat and I listened to this entire 3-hour long podcast, which is pretty impressive. But one of these days we'll get it under 2 hours. Or if you don't want us to get it under 2 hours, let us know also in the comments. But I feel like we really broke that episode down. I loved that we came up with our own floor chart, because I feel like there's always so much contention and so much criticism when Bravo does let us know what their seating charts are for the reunion. And I think that we came up with some really great alternatives. Let us know in the comments whose floor plan you would go with. Would you go with the one as is that Bravo had for the reunion, my floor chart, Shirla's floor chart, or Jaleeza's, or none of the above? And if you picked none of the above, it's only fair. You got to make your own floor chart and let us know in the comments. And the best ones I will read on the next recap. And bonus points if you put explanations with the reasonings behind your floor chart. All right. I want to thank Shirla and Jaleeza for joining me on this 3-hour Titanic long voyage. And I also want to thank you for joining us on this 3-hour long Titanic voyage. We were all survivors, and we have a story to tell. And we will be telling that on next week's episode, recapping Summer House episode number 12. I can't wait. The drama is boiling up. Woo! Thank you again. We'll see you next week. Wait, I think I'm forgetting something. Wait, what does Pia always say? Oh, yeah.